And welcome to IceTime.TV at the brand new Ice Arena Wales. It's been a long wait, but finally the Cardiff Devils will take the ice tonight against the Belfast Giants. Gareth Hewish alongside John Donovan and Alan Lloyd. And gentlemen, I'm excited. You both look excited. We've been waiting a long time to get in this building, to see what it's got, to see what the Devils are going to do in it. What's going to happen tonight, John?
Well, first of all, it is a night of celebration, as you rightly say, and I think we need to pay tribute to everybody who's worked to get this building, the foundations of it in Cardiff, and this great environment now we have for ice sports. So the Save Our Rink Action Committee and everybody associated, Chris Hartrue's worked tirelessly on the project. So we're proud to be here, but there's a lot of people behind the scenes who have done a lot to get this building up and running. As for the game, well, it's getting to that crucial time of the season where you almost feel it's a Game 7 type scenario. You almost feel it's win or bust. For me, the Devils have got to take 4 points this weekend. This game is huge in terms of building momentum that's been lost a little bit. If they win tonight in the exciting atmosphere of the first night in Ice Arena Wales, this could light the blue touch paper again. If they lose, well, they really are well and truly in a slump.
Aled, we're on a new ice pad this evening, a bigger ice pad, long gone are now the days of the Big Blue Tent and the Wales National Ice Rink. How is that going to set the scene of tonight's game? Belfast maybe a little bit more comfortable to start with, maybe?
Possibly, but you look at the way the Devils have played away. Of course, they're extremely comfortable at home. We know that on the small ice. But then you look at things like the power play and the penalty kill. The Devils fare just as well away from home. We know they've been training here at Ice Arena Wales recently as well, and that's going to play a big factor. So
we can reveal that now. That was top secret, but we're allowed to say that now.
I think there was some footage in the week, John.
I just want to check in you the list of secrets. Yeah, that's okay. That won't.
It's a message from Todd Kelman. You're sacked.
I could have sworn I saw some footage on the Elite League website, but I know nothing. No, but I think it's certainly something which the Devils will embrace, and particularly we talked about as well the run of form the Devils have been on recently, and we were saying, well, perhaps the timing of this isn't great, but then when the Devils went on that run of form where they started losing those matches, perhaps the timing could work in their favour, because I think everyone was worried about moving. Well, a few losses now, suddenly the Big Blue Tent isn't that fortress which it was sort of maybe previously, and now in the last month. Come into this building, sold out building tonight in Cardiff Bay. What more could you want as an incentive right in the middle of an Elite League title race?
I mean, going to the Belfast Giants again, when the Devils played the Giants back in the Challenge Cup semi-final, we were almost talking about the Challenge Cup being the season-saving competition for the Giants. They now sit very much in a title race. Can they do it, John?
They can. There's no reason why not. Again, if they take 4 points this weekend in this back-to-back, they go ahead of the Devils. They go into second place. They can certainly do it. It was funny, I spoke to Rob Stewart after the last league game in Cardiff, and in his post-match interview he officially wrote the Giants off. He said the league title had long gone, but maybe that's just what they need, a little bit of pressure off them, going under the radar a little bit, and Vandermeer is a big signing. We were speaking before the game, an NHLer with that number of games under his belt, war in A, I think in Chicago, war in A in Edmonton, the leadership that he brings, it just sort of galvanized that room a little bit. So you put those two things together, the pressure may be falling off the Giants a little bit, people ruling them out of the equation, bringing in a big name signing who's bringing leadership capabilities. They're on a tear right now. What is it, 1 loss in 7? So very much the Belfast Giants are in this title picture.
Well, it's going to be a tantalising contest this evening between the Devils and the Giants. The Devils, tonight is about Ice Arena Wales for the most part, but I guess it's a good distraction to take away from a pretty big plummet in form from a Devils perspective. Disappointment in the Challenge Cup, although that was only a 1-goal loss, but in the league it's probably Andrew Lord's longest run without a win since he became Devils coach. What does he need to do to get the Devils back on track? It can't just be the emotion of tonight, it has to be more fundamental than that.
Yeah, I think so. It's been interesting, hasn't it? Because what started that plummet was that game against Sheffield Steelers, where there was no doubt it was the defensive frailties which were really key in that. The Devils still scored plenty of goals in that game, but they conceded more at home, conceding 6 at home, which is sort of almost unheard of in the Big Blue Tent. And then following that, they went and won in Belfast. And we talk about playing on the big ice and everything. Well, the Devils have got a good record in Belfast this season as well. But they went and won there. But that was in the Cup, and you still wondered whether this team had the mental strength to see things through in the league, where perhaps that game against Sheffield that they lost at home, that might have all but clinched the title for the Devils if they'd have won that, having won in the Sheffield Arena the night before. Then, of course, they lose to Fife as well, and suddenly you start seeing the goal scoring dry up a little bit, and that's a big problem for the Devils right now. In the Challenge Cup final, we saw that return to that defensive game, which is certainly something that I advocated, I think was needed, just finding those fundamentals, playing that defensive game. But from a scoring point of view, we've seen the lines mixed around a bit, perhaps something that we can elaborate on, and John might want to come in on as well. And I'm not sure whether that may be the best thing, but there's certainly one or two key players that are just dried up in front of goal as well. And that final against Nottingham was the kind of game, perhaps last year against the Steelers, the Devils would have nicked a couple of goals there from a couple of chances and ridden the good goaltending of Ben Bounds and find a way to win. Right now, they're not clinical in front of goal.
No, I would agree with that. I think it's time for the Devils' big players to be their big players. I think they're riding Ben Bounds and Joey Martin at the moment. Those are the two key guys for the Devils. They've got some good team performances from players who are good role players. I think Trevor Hendricks was great in the Challenge Cup final. Joey Haddad I've been impressed with. Mark Richardson is always good. But there are some big players whose performance levels have dropped. I'm thinking of the like of Andrew Hotham. I'm thinking Thomas Kirker still has more to give. The player coach himself, I think, has been very, very honest in his own appraisal that his form has dropped. Jake Morissette is someone who's been moved around the lines a lot recently, and I think that's affected his game. We're not seeing the point production from Jake Morissette. So it was interesting. The Salters, Martin, Doucette line seemed to really be going for the Devils. And yes, there was that loss to Sheffield, but there was a bounce-back performance in Belfast, taking that Challenge Cup semi-final win. Then there was a disappointing loss in Fife, and immediately Andrew Lord separated the lineups and went back to his tried and trusted Martin, Lord and Morissette. That line hasn't quite clicked yet, and the other two lines look a little bit too mixed around for my liking. And it's interesting, and I'll throw this out there because I've heard a few people say it to me since. It was an honour to interview Andrew Lord after that Coventry game. It really was, and the emotion he spoke of, I was actually really moved by it. But a couple of people have said to me, was that the pressure showing? And we forget that he is only a second-year coach. So Andrew Lord right now is facing his toughest task as a coach, as player coach of the Cardiff Devils, and you just can't help feel that this is the night. It's for me, it is win or bust, because I think if you lose tonight, you've lost another emotional game, and the Devils well and truly are in a slump.
Well, we said in the show in midweek that, well, certainly I said anyway, I felt if the Devils won tonight, you could see them going on to win the rest of the games they need to win this championship. If they lose tonight, there's a real possibility that they could just drift to the end of the season and lose every game. And the amount of pressure Andrew Lord is under is huge, especially for a second-year player coach. And let's not forget that job that Andrew Lord and Derek Walser for the Belfast Giants do is a huge pressure. And at this time of year, that's something we can't even imagine what they're going through in that sense. And you talked to Corey Nielsen after the Challenge Cup final, and one of the key things he said in that interview was that he's able to almost remain quite aloof from what's happening and make those sort of cold decisions within a game. I can't even imagine that that's possible as a player coach. And when you get down to this part of the season where those key moments are key and need to be made perhaps in the cold light of day, it's going to be a real test of Andrew Lord, no doubt about it, as good as he has been. And let's not forget that absolute leading light for the Cardiff Devils, both as a player and a coach, no doubt about it.
So is this the perfect time to start this run of games in Ice Arena Wales? It's a new lick of paint. Is the mantra from the Devils almost that to forget what's happened before, forget that disappointment? The season starts now in many ways. It's a mini season, and I think you made this point on Live on Ice added in the week. It's almost as close to a playoff series with the Giants that we're going to get.
I would agree entirely with that. I think they often describe the playoffs as the second season. The second season, I think, for the Cardiff Devils starts now. The door has been shut on the Big Blue Tent. They've had a week removed from that excruciating schedule where they went through 3 weeks of back-to-back hockey, culminating in a disappointing Challenge Cup final defeat. They've had a week where they've had a couple of days off. They've come in, they've come to practice. It's a big night tonight. It's a lovely setting. We were fortunate enough to be in the locker room last night having a look around. There's far more creature comforts than the Big Blue Tent. It can feel different. This can feel like the start of a new chapter, and I think the Cardiff Devils very much have to think of it like that. They're still in, let's not forget, they're 1 point off the leaders with a game in hand. Everything is still in their hands. I think this is a very big night for them to say, let's forget about what's gone before. Let's trust our systems. Let's get back to doing what we do well and just win the game that's in front of us. One game at a time right now. This is a very, very big game.
Well, hockey kind of to one side then. Ice Arena Wales behind us. I don't know if we can get a little shot of what's going on here. The first puck sponsorship is going on of this season, and it's a facility which is as good as any in the country in many ways. It's befitting of a team that wants to be at the top of ice hockey in this country, isn't it?
Absolutely, and I know we've referenced this a few times, but John made the great point, perhaps in the last game at the Big Blue Tent, I think it was, John, where you said that the team now, the excuse is gone. Playing in this facility, the Devils are now right at the top in the league, around about. They're challenging for the title. There's 2 cup finals in a row, having won it last season. This now needs to have that big club mentality, and this arena gives them that option, I think. And it's certainly an arena befitting the club that they have become under the new ownership and the leadership of Todd Kelman and Andrew Lord. And
John, I can't leave our old intro without mentioning, you told us before the game, this is your 3rd opening night of an ice building in Cardiff. I don't think there are many people in this building that can make such a claim. Is it the most special for you in terms of those 3?
Looking good for 74, John.
I'm not looking bad. I
74 openings in the future, or 74 years of age?
Well, if I could, and I know it's not very professional, but if I could give a shout out to my dad who is watching on the webcast. He took me to the Wales National Ice Rink as a 4-year-old for the first ever game there against the Ashfield Islanders. Of course, the game against the Manchester Phoenix in the Big Blue Tent. For me, this is special because it's the next big stage, or perhaps the final big stage in the rebirth of the Cardiff Devils. We do commentate as neutrals, I hope, but I have grown up a Cardiff Devils fan. And for me, moving out of the Wales National Ice Rink, going into the Big Blue Tent, it did give the Devils an inferiority complex. Todd Kelman, the new ownership group, Andrew Lord, Jamie Elson, Neil Francis, have removed that. But they needed a building, they needed an environment that was befitting, as Alid said, of a top club. They now have that. So for me, out of the 3, yeah, as a 4-year-old, I was obviously excited. As a 24-year-old, I was probably enjoying the beer. As a 34-year-old, yeah, this feels pretty good.
Well, very brave of you to date yourself live on IceTime.TV, John. Excellent day. So, guys, we don't put our neck out on the line with predictions and such, and we won't today, don't worry. I can see you looking a bit eagle-eyed at me there. I wouldn't do that to you. I wouldn't let it get off on the wrong foot in this new building, but
so an easy ledge to push over there, guys. Although we are on camera, so we'd be bound to right.
And there's a lot of members of the public who probably wouldn't appreciate that. But we're looking now that the place is filling up. It's looking like an arena. We've been in here when it's very sparse, but the true character of a building is when it's completely full. The lights are now going down, the Zambonis going round. It's real. I still won't quite believe it until that first puck is dropped, so forgive my commentary at that point. It'll probably be a little bit of an excitable time for me. But no, we're not going to do predictions, but we spoke in the week, there's 5 teams in the running for this league title. 2 of them play tonight. Has there been a bigger weekend in the Elite League in terms of title weekends than this one?
Well, it's got a big feel to it. I think the fact that we're here in the new building as well, just sort of, again, it just sort of elevates, as much as the Devils' position is up there, it just sort of elevates the Devils Hockey Club up there, along with the likes of the Belfast Giants, the Sheffield Sears, Nottingham Panthers, the clubs that you're referring to there, especially in terms of that game going on there between Sheffield and Nottingham as well. Yeah, I think this it's crucial now, isn't it? You know, and when you look at the amount of people in your sold-out building in the Big Blue Tent, no, it's not. It's in there. This is the first time that's happened tonight. There's more people here than have ever watched a Cardiff Devils hockey game, and I think that is it shows you where the club is going. But in terms of the 2 sides out there, these are 2 clubs which have been involved in some huge battles. And John made the interesting point earlier that Belfast Giants really have gone under the radar here. The pressure's been off for quite a long while as well. This is it now. Of course, there was that loss to the Braehead clan just as people started talking about the Belfast Giants again. The Devils have a good record against the Giants this year, albeit in the midst of a slump. It's going to be fascinating to see how these 2 teams come out, not least because we are talking about a mini playoff series here in all but name. The 2 games here tonight, then the game back in Belfast midweek. If one side wins all 3 of those games, it's difficult to see that side, perhaps, certainly if it's the Devils anyway, but even the Giants with the momentum, they're perhaps not lifting that title as well. Really crucial.
Well, what we would do is invite you to join in the conversation this evening via social media at IceTime.TV. If you use the hashtag IceTime.TV, tell us who you think is going to get the first goal in this building. It doesn't have to be a Devils player, it can be a Giants player. There's lots of firsts to come in Ice Arena Wales. We're very slowly getting our first broadcast underway, and I'm getting used to our new surroundings. It's very nice to be so far away from the ice pad. I don't live in perpetual fear, at least not from what's going on the ice. I mean, you guys are always a little bit scary at times, but a lot of firsts, and we're very privileged to call this game tonight, aren't we, John?
We are. You know, it's a hobby for us, but it's a hobby that's turned into very much a passion, and we hope that IceTime are bringing great coverage to people across the UK, Devils fans, Giants fans who can't be here tonight. And we hope the emotion comes across tonight, because this has been 10 years in the making, and the Belfast Giants in the old Super League and the formative years of the Elite League would have gone to the Wales National Ice Rink, and hopefully they would agree that that was a very, very special place, a city centre environment. It was great to go there on a match night and then spill out afterwards, and you really made a night of it, because you go to bars, restaurants, what have you. The Big Blue Tent served a purpose, and credit to it, it got us from point A to point B, but I'll go back to that point again, that there was that little bit of inferiority for the Cardiff Devils, that they couldn't compete with the likes of the Belfast Giants, the Sheffield Steelers, the Nottingham Panthers. So tonight, I think, is a chance for everyone just to feel a little bit special, and hopefully the three of us will be able to bring that across to you. But more importantly, more than anything, we've got a potentially title influencing hockey game.
But of course, in terms of this new building, certainly for the home team anyway, the Belfast Giants will know all about opening an arena to a full house and everything like that, still within relative recent memory. Playing here tonight in a building which the Devils hope to become their home for a long while, it's going to be all that more special if they get the win, isn't it? And you talk about the form that's been going into this game, but they're going to remember this night an awful lot more if there's a win. These 3,000 or so people are going to remember this night an awful lot more if there's a win that leads a title charge. I
just ask you guys, in terms of strategy tonight, do the Giants come out with the Devils in the midst of a slump, and also the Giants more conditions of playing big ice hockey? Do the Giants come out and try and dictate the pace tonight? It's going to be interesting to see what the game plans are, whether the Giants are the team that early on try and have more puck possession and really influence the pace of the game.
I think, from my perspective, the Belfast Giants, the pressure's maybe a little bit less now in the league title race with a loss to Braehead. I think, if you're going to write the perfect script, they're not expected to win tonight. They're not expected to come from behind and win that league title. I think it's a little bit like the Devils' position last year, where Andrew Lord was the chaser, and it was almost, well, if we win this league, it's a bonus. And it wasn't a bonus. It was heartbreaking to lose that from a Devils perspective. But the Giants, I think, have very similar, should have a very similar outlook tonight. They can get at the Devils, they can play their game, they can play their systems perfectly. Walter struggled in the Big Blue Tent in all of his performances there, I think it's fair to say. I don't think we're going to have that from him tonight. I think he's going to be a lot more comfortable from the off. He makes his team tick.
There is something quite motivating about going into a new building, sold out, or in a big occasion, whatever it is, whether it's a new build or not, and going and spoiling the party. And you look at the characters down this Belfast Giants roster, the likes of Keith, the likes of Lloyd, Walzer as well, what a competitor he is. Those guys will be determined to come in here tonight. It might just give them a little bit more jump. Yes, of course, ultimately it's the league title at stake. They'll know if they get a win tonight, they've got a very, very good chance of sweeping the Devils in these 3 games, with the kind of emotion going on perhaps within that Devils roster right now. But on top of that, to come in here and take a win tonight in this building here is going to be certainly a motivating factor, especially when you look at some of those characters in that team.
It reminds me of that game in the Theo Fleury year of Belfast, where they had one more game to win the title. The Devils went over, won 5-2. Fleury got himself checked out. It was a big implosion. The Devils were the party spoilers on that occasion. So I very much take your point. It does galvanise a team when you have your backs against the wall like that.
I think tonight, it's for the Belfast Giants, it's going to be different influential characters out there tonight. In the Big Blue Tent, Keith and Lloyd were always the guys that led, and don't get me wrong, they'll still do the same, but there's some guys out there who really play well on big ice, not least the player coach, Derek Walser. I think Desmarais plays down low behind the goal line better than any player in the league, and Wilson on the back end I'm a huge fan of as well. Almost as Jeff Mason has stepped back a little bit from that offensive defenseman, top 4 role, jumping into the play. I think Wilson's gone into it, and he's my one to watch tonight for Belfast. I think so many good things start from him on the back end.
Well, gentlemen, I think we can't add much more to this, really. The drums have started. I don't know if you can hear that at home. They will be ramping up as the evening goes on. Please join us on social media, as I said, hashtag IceTime.TV, and tell us who's going to get the first goal, who's going to get the first fight, who's going to get the first big win in this building in Ice Arena Wales tonight. Tell us where you're watching. We want to see it. We want to hear from you. We're on Facebook as well. We're on Snapchat. We're all over social media. We got all your entertainment covered on this Saturday evening. So turn off the voice if you've got that on in the background. That's no good. It's IceTime TV tonight, the only place to watch a live entertainment tonight, this evening.
Can I just say, you two are in the bad books. I was told we were wearing suits tonight, so that's why I look silly. So I apologize to everyone at home for looking a little off on camera, but these guys have really dropped me in it. So Gaz, Al, on opening night, thank you very much.
I don't think it's glued on there, John, is it? You can take the jacket off if you want.
Well, stay tuned to see if John takes his jacket off in the period break, if for nothing else.
If there's no better reason to stay tuned, is there, than that?
We will have some special guests coming up as well. We're hoping to have Chris Hartree, who's been the project manager for this ring, to tell us how proud he is and what the building will hold going forward. And we're also hoping to have Patrick Smith from A View from the Bridge podcast, who I spoke to in the week as well. So if you want to hear us drone on a little bit more in the second period break, we'll get an away fans perspective. But guys, I guess some final words before we take our stroll to our new high positioned gantry.
For me, if the Devils win, the season starts again and they're real contenders for the league title. If they lose, I'm with Al. I think this goes into a slump which they don't recover from.
Yeah, obviously big opening night in the new building, but that's got to be secondary tonight. It'll be special if the Devils win. The win has to be the focus first of all for the Giants. Huge opportunity to spoil the party.
Well, don't go anywhere. Go and get all the family on the sofa. Go and get that pizza ordered so it arrives in time, and join us as we will call the first ever game at Ice Arena Wales. Cardiff Devils, Belfast Giants in a crucial Elite League clash. We'll be back shortly for Face Off.
Sixth seal, and lo, there were a great earthquake, and the sun became black as sackcloth of hair, and the moon became as blood, and the stars of heaven fell unto the earth, even as a fig tree casteth her untimely figs when she is shaken of a mighty wind. And the heaven departed as a scroll when it is rolled together, and every mountain and island were moved out of their places. And the kings of the earth, and the great men, and the rich men, and the chief captains, and the mighty men, and every bondman, and every free man hid themselves. Wrath is come, and who shall be able to stand?
Face-off draws ever closer for this first game in Ice Arena Wales between two clubs who've shared very similar DNA, whether they be playing staff or, at the moment, ownership groups as Todd Kelman makes made the jump across the Irish Sea to take charge of the Cardiff Devils. And we've also spotted Steve Thornton, of course, a player, John, who would have a very special attachment to this game as well.
He will do. A great server for both clubs. Steve Thornton signed halfway through the 96-97 Super League year for the Cardiff Devils. He won that league title with the Cardiff Devils and probably wouldn't have left this club if it wasn't for the financial difficulties experienced at the start of the millennium, but also won a playoff title with the Belfast Giants, and now does a great job there as hockey operations impresario, really.
But it'll be a weird situation for us here that the carpet hasn't caused any ice malfunctions. So apart from the initial delay, it looks like we are going to face off on time, and Stefan Hogarth is the official lucky enough to take charge of this occasion. Both Ben Bounds and Stephen Murphy have taken to their creases, and it's going to be Chris Callaghan who takes this first face-off. And as this puck drops, the Cardiff Devils are finally at home. Forney drops that one up the boards and collects it, and we'll just dump that in. Hudson cuts that out, and this will be a high stick on the play and a face-off in the Devils zone. And at it, we can now finally believe
it's happened. Interesting there, lineup choice for Coach Law to start that one. Havato goes out there with Callaghan, so that's two centres on that line. The Devils lose the draw on that first one with Havato as well. It's going to be a physical line with a little bit of creativity as well.
That's just an energy line. Callaghan with Haddad is a good combination. So, as I said, I want to see who Doucette goes out with in this opening game in Ice Arena Wales.
The Giants it is who've managed to get themselves on the puck in this early exchange. Here's Callaghan on a strong forecheck from the Devils, a facet of the game that was probably missing for large periods of the Challenge Cup final, particularly because Higgins, the Belfast Datsuk, as he's been affectionately christened by the Belfast faithful. Up to the right wing, and this is a pass through, and it was Doucette looking to go forward, and it's Morissette and Russell who look to be the players sent out with Doucette on this line as the puck gets caught in behind the new netting, and Russell will battle for that. Devils come away with it. Fournier, but he's dispossessed by Rutherford. Fournier does well just to get himself out of trouble, and Hendricks with a long lead pass. That's no icing on the play. Doucette in behind the net, and he does well to turn that over. Hendricks can't keep that in the zone, but does keep it away from the attentions of the Belfast Giants momentarily. But now the Giants step over the blue line. Now we're right out in front, and that's taken off the stick. Right in the slot of Rutherford. Now here's Peacock, and he can't get it settled. Joey Martin to Andrew Lord, and Kirker has been put on this line with Lord and Martin. An interesting line shuffle once again from Andrew Lord.
Well, we've had this conversation all season long that Thomas Kirker is an supremely talented hockey player who's done good things in fits and bursts for the Cardiff Devils right now. But in this shootout really to the end of the season, it would be advantageous to get Thomas Kirker going. How do you get any player going in the Cardiff Devils lineup? You put them on a line with Joey Martin.
For the Giants there, they started off with Beach. Higgins is out there. He's definitely a player who's going to enjoy coming to this larger ice surface here in Cardiff. You see Darryl Lloyd there barreling his way to the net as well. The Giants have got the right game to play in this building.
Devils have come forward with Hotham. He leaves it for Richardson. Hotham has come under a bit of criticism, probably for the first time in his Cardiff Devils career in the last couple of weeks, but that's not a symptom that is just befalling him. The whole team, as we've discussed, has had a little bit of a slump in recent weeks, but this crowd is still with them.
Interesting, guys. Very early, the Devils extending their bench, trying to match the Giants with four-line hockey. Piggott and Jones going out with Avato, so Andrew Lord looking to get everybody into the game.
Here's Piggott. He throws it out in front, and Batch it is who couldn't quite get it settled. The puck ricocheted off his skate, and now Forney goes across, and that'll be offside. But that energy line of the Devils with Piggott looking to make a difference in this game early on.
Yeah, we saw what a difference it made for the Nottingham Panthers in that Challenge Cup final against the Devils. When played properly, the Panthers there going with two real scoring lines, scoring depth on the third line, and a real solid checking line there as well. But the Devils, they're looking to respond with that, but the Giants have got the bodies to do it as well. You're going to see Keith go out there and crash bang as well.
Walser dumps that in, and that's sent round for Forney. He can't collect it, and now Kirker with the puck, but he's under pressure from Walser, and now the Devils chip away again. Martin will just settle that down. He lays it forward for Kirker, who can't quite get it. And Thomas Kirker has, since being a healthy scratch a couple of months ago, has upped his work rate quite immensely on the ice, and really did have the desired effect that Andrew Lord wanted.
But I think Kirker is a guy as well who Andrew Lord feels will play well on the big ice. Of course, most of his career in Europe, he had that NHL experience earlier in his career as well, knows how to play on the big ice, and he's been a big game player for the Devils away from home, especially this season.
Morissette lays it off for Fournier. Fournier still with it, as decided not to dump it. Fournier's going all the way, just lays it out in front, and now Russell will collect it. Russell with a wrist shot, is tipped just wide of Stephen Murphy's net. First chance for the Cardiff Devils, and that will not be icing as Hendricks goes in to try and tidy up for the Devils, and he can't. Russell gets there, it's right out and bounds, has to make the save. Backhand by Rutherford, and he can't find a white jersey, and the Devils just get it out of the zone. No, they don't. Chance for Desmarais on the backhand, saved by Bounds. Desmarais tries to put it back out in front, can't. Now Rutherford. Desmarais once more. Bounds gets set up once again, out in front once more, and the Devils are living dangerously. They chip it forward. Fournier. Haddad can't get it deep enough, but the Devils will get a line change as Haddad throws a hit, this time on Vandermeer. And that's got stuck right into the shorts of Chris Culligan, and the Giants will profit from this with Peacock, who shoots, and that's taken a wicked deflection high above the net. Great example on the previous shift of how good James Desmarais is. Just controls that line there, out there with two pure goal scorers in Rutherford and Radja. That's going to be a big threat for the Giants this evening. They've got threats all over the ice. You look at Forney as well. I think he skates so well to space. I think Matthew Waugh has missed him in Sheffield this year. He was a big plus to the Sheffield Steelers. I think 80 plus points in 60 games last year. Forney enjoys the big ice surface. He's another one to watch for the Belfast Giants. Hotham. He'll chip this off the boards. The Giants will look to make another rush. Walser. He lays that one forward, and Hotham cuts it out the blue line, but makes one move too many maybe, and the Devils will chip and go for a change once again. This Walser-Garside combination is one the Devils have had success against in the big blue tent. A lot of the reason for that is Walser doesn't like that small ice surface. The Giants will get a lot better outlet from him on this big pad, but they'll still feel they've got a chance to turn things over as they try here. As the Devils send their energy line out once again, Pickett and Jones getting a lot of ice time early on. Backhand chance goes wide, and Pickett will get a chance to go forward as the bit of an injury on the players. Can't quite make out who that is in the net there. I think it might be Andrew Hotham who was on the back check, who I thought the gap control there for the Devils wasn't great, and allowed the Giants player to really steamroll it through the middle, and Andrew Hotham had to make a little bit of a desperation play and has collided with the goalpost. And I still think the Cardiff Devils are making soft plays. There was a moment ago where Trevor Hendricks coughed the puck up behind the net, and that led to the Desmarais line really creating a cycle. Joey Haddad didn't get the puck into the zone. Chris Culligan didn't get the puck into the zone. I still think this is a tentative Cardiff Devils unit right now, probably suffering from a little bit of confidence loss because of the run they've been on. Talking about the importance of committing to plays, whether it's defensively or offensively. Again, we get Darryl Lloyd there in 2 shifts so far, barreled his way to the net and found space and created things for the Giants. He's a guy who plays everything 100% every night. There's a hit just in the balls by Keith, and he's keeping that hit on Jones, and little veteran savvy play from Keith there, testing the mettle of Chris Jones to see what he has. There's 14-10 left in this first period here. Definitely seeing 4-line hockey from both clubs in this first period. Desmarais again out there with Keith. That's a huge hit coming in as well. Martin lays that for Kirker. Kirker just puts that on Murphy, but Murphy's going to lap that up all day long. Martin again, and this line has started strongly for the Devils. Here's Martin once more, trying to assess his options. throws it for Andrew Lord, but it's come off the pad of Murphy, and that's a Giants player who's covered that up with his hand in nothing doing. Lord out in front, just trying to jam it to Murphy, and he can't. Martin shoots, and it's a good save by Murphy again. It's still loose, still out in front, and now the Giants will not get it away. Fournier can't find Hendricks on the point, and the first penalty of the evening will be against the Belfast Giants.
Well, you give somebody a bigger zone to work in like Joey Martin and you're going to create chances. Andrew Lord there, just looking to lead from the front like we expected, determined almost to be the first goal scorer in Ice Arena Wales. The two of them there just playing very well down low. Thomas Kirker, he's finding a little bit more space as well. I really think he's going to benefit from going with Joey Martin and Gleeson Fournier on the back end. This is the reason he was brought in to play as a Cardiff Devil. This big ice, right now his skating is influencing the play.
We saw as well the Devils dipsy-dooling, but getting the puck to the net as well, finding that, getting that shot earlier, making that direct play, certainly paid off for them there.
So the Devils will enjoy 2 minutes of power play. It's a cross-checking penalty on Mitch Ganzak, who will sit in the nice new spacious penalty boxes as the Devils gain the zone through Russell. Russell forward to Morissette. Morissette lays it off, and the Devils do get it back to point. Hotham tries to find Russell. This loose pass is another chance out in front. No, Russell, back stick, chance, shoots, Murphy saves, and that was a gilt-edged chance for the Devils with Joey Haddad.
Too much time for Haddad there. Do you think that pass by Russell opened up a lot of room? Haddad didn't know maybe whether to dipsy doodle, try and draw Murphy out. He delayed the shot. Murphy came out and challenged the shooter, and it was a good save.
And Murphy started strong as well. We're going to see a replay here, and that's a big difference perhaps we haven't talked about so far, as Murphy's going to feel comfortable on this ice pad as well. He challenges the shot there. You're absolutely right, John. Perhaps just a little bit long for Haddad, but opposition goalies are going to find it a little bit easier coming into Ice Arena Wales.
Haddad throws it through to the crease, looking for a tip, and he doesn't get it. Now here's Russell, but the Devils' power play is looking sprightly as Haddad just stops at the blue line. Now Hotham is up against Boxhill, and Boxhill shoots. Good save by Bounce.
Boxhill, one of the best penalty killers in the league, but Joey Haddad playing back end for the Devils on the power play. We saw this toward the end of last season. He's got a great shot. The Devils have been struggling a little bit on the power play in recent weeks, and Andrew Lord has made a move there, juggling his units.
Giants got a good penalty kill overall on the road there, sitting around 3. The Devils, we talk about how good their power play is, number 1. They're number 1 away on the road as well, and that's a crucial stat here because, of course, just to reference it yet again, that big ice surface now at Ice Arena Wales, the Devils have still got the number 1 power play on the road where they play most of their hockey, apart from when they play in the storm shelter on the big ice.
58 seconds of power play remain, 12:23 left in the period. We apologise for not having a clock as yet. We will work on it for you guys. Until then, I will be sponsored by Accurist until we sort that out, as Hogarth, the referee, takes that puck to the leg, and the Giants do well just to chip that puck away. Now here's Fournier again, who's started very brightly in this game. Fournier dipsy doodling and tries to find another red shirt and can't, and the Giants will chip out. And this is a chance for the Giants if Lord can't make it, and he can't, and here's Lloyd in behind Bounds. Hit coming in from Joey Martin.
Interesting to see that Doucette does go out with Martin and Lord on the power play. Andrew Lord at the moment, you give him credit for juggling his units a little bit, but is it too much? Is he unsettling the Devils players a little with all the interchanging of positions and different looks?
Callaghan tries to find Martin, and now with Ganzak about to come out of the box, the Giants have a 2-on-1. Beach with a lovely pass, Bounce saves! And the puck is still loose, and now here's Doucette. Doucette can get it out to the left wing to Callaghan. Callaghan can't quite collect it. It was a good penalty kill for the Belfast Giants. That's an offside actually called.
We'll try and get a replay of that one in a moment. A worldly save from Ben Bounds, but also from Josh Batch there. Veteran play from him. Getting first to that puck, so important. Ben Bounds makes the big save first up, but that goal was there for the Giants if they got there first. Josh Batch finds a way to that puck.
It was a huge save. Guy Doucette got caught on the back end, and he didn't get body position on the Giants player. I believe it was Walter who was crashing the net, and that's a very big save, a situational save there from Ben Bounds.
And you talked about those units being mixed up, John. Well, that might be an example of it there, the way the Giants, the communication wasn't quite there for the Devils, and the Giants were away.
And there's no penalty on the play, and Rutherford was looking for one from a Giants perspective, but the Giants are going to try and get a cycle going. 10:45 left in this first period, this fascinating first period here in these surroundings. They'll chip off the glass and Batch will collect.
First goal is huge, guys, do you think? With the Devils, with the confidence issues at the moment, they really want to set the momentum in this building, score that first goal. If the Giants get it...
Russell with a shot, and Murphy spilled it. It is loose. And it's a white jersey that gets it away.
Yeah, just to finish on that, if the Giants get it, of course, the Devils then have got to raise themselves when they're not scoring a lot of goals at the moment, and confidence is an issue. So the first goal tonight, you feel, is going to be crucial.
Cut out by Fournier, and Russell will just tip that one on and go for a change. Piggott, who's getting this regular fourth line shift. And it's great to see. You get the sense that there's been a plan for this to happen on this big ice pad from the beginning of the year, with the amount of minutes that Jones and Piggott have got. Fournier just glides his way through effortlessly. Lord puts that on Murphy. Murphy collects, and the whistle will be down. 9:48 remains.
As we see a little afters behind the goal, and Andrew Lord maybe just trying to get his team going a little bit, as he's the agitator there. But Gleason Fournier really carrying the puck well on this bigger ice surface, and that's maybe what you want to see from Andrew Hotham as well. Maybe Hotham doesn't have the wheels of Fournier, but he can carry the puck, and he's really a big game player that needs to step forward in this almost playoff series run-in.
You look at the way Fournier's played so far with 3 or 4 rushes, and that's definitely a signing with the big ice in mind, no doubt about it, by Andrew Lord. Fournier's been good so far.
Face-off win for the Giants. Stretch pass forward. Forney doesn't collect it now. Lord will just lay that off, but the Devils need to get out of the zone and do. Ganzak will go back to take that from Murphy. Ganzak will just lay that off, and now the Giants will dump that in. Hotham to tidy it up for the Cardiff Devils. Richardson to Martin, and that'll just be a quick change for the Devils, as Garside will go and mop up for the Giants.
Really interesting breakout. All 5 guys coming down low. The Devils are forcing the Giants back a little bit at the moment. 5 guys down low, then they spread. That's a really good breakout from the Giants. They've got a lot of looks there under Walser.
Batch lays that, looking for Hudson, and now Hudson has to watch the attentions of Boxhill. Boxhill forming on in Panthers. Walser was winding up for the one-timer, but it was a weak effort, but the Giants continue with their pressure. Lloyd just lays that off for Keefe, and Keefe just chips that in behind Bounds. Garside back to Boxhill, and that's coming onto the forehand. Is right out in front of Bounds, and Bounds saves. Hudson in on Demaray.
Guys, I really think Demaray is the best player I've seen down low since Ryan Finity, who I thought was a great player at cycling the puck down low.
Bounds with a save through traffic, and Culligan does eventually, no, he can't quite get it. He does now take it back from Rutherford. Culligan looking a bit more comfortable in his role at centre as Doucette tries to get that forward, and Morissette can't collect. Doucette can't collect. The Giants do gain the zone now. He's opened up for the Giants shot, and Bounds plucks that out of the air.
A little bit of overplaying there from the Devils. 2 defensemen going to the one man, leaving a shooting lane wide open, and Ben Bounds, as he was last week in Sheffield, Aled, he's having to be the Devils' best player right now.
No doubt about it. It's been a little bit of a clinic and goal from both of these men, but Ben Bounds here, so much confidence, improved so much again this year. He's a player with utmost confidence, and he believes in his own ability, and that's so important as a goaltender.
That was a look to a long stretch pass, but that will give us our first icing corner. We talk about Ben Bounds. Is there an argument now that, certainly in that performance at the Challenge Cup, as good a performance from any netminder in Devils history? Take the British tag off of that?
Absolutely, I do think that's a great point. You start to take the British tag off. I don't think he's just the best British netminder in the league right now. I think he's the best netminder in the league right now. And in terms of Devils greats, yeah, right up there with Derek Orlovsky and Stevie Lyle for my money.
Might see a little bit of something here. It's Hendricks and Lloyd over there in the far corner, and I don't think Lloyd's going to take that fight. There's no doubt about that, but Hendricks will.
I've said this before, that Peter Rabbit would do well to stay out of Mr. McGregor's garden when it comes to Darrell Lloyd. Taking on Trevor Hendricks, it's not something that Lloyd wants, and Lloyd is a savvy veteran. He knows exactly what he is doing, I don't think his reception in Ice Arena Wales will be any better than it was in the big blue tent, and I don't think he'd want it any other way as Fournier goes across the blue line. Shot comes in, Murphy with a pad save, and Fournier again just throws it to the back stick to Russell. It was a great inventive pass, and Fournier again throws it in, tipped out in front. Murphy saves. Doucette just lays that around, looking again for Fournier, who's been the most creative Devils player. Russell shoots, it's blocked. Fournier with a turnover, and Hendricks can't quite collect. The good pressure from this Devils line. If
Russell's a right-hand shot there, I think that's a one-timer and that's a goal because of the great feed from Fournier. Unfortunately, he's not. He tried to corral that puck and the chance was lost, but Gleason Fournier playing like a man possessed right now.
James Desmarais, the best player on the ice for the Giants right now. Gleason Fournier, that tag for the Devils in this first period.
And it's a 2-on-1 for the Giants. Shot comes in and Bounce saves. It was trickling across his crease. And he somehow tracked it and found out where it was, and it remains 0-0, 6:28 to go.
Well, it'll be interesting to see a replay of that. I think Andrew Hotham actually makes a great desperation play, maybe gets a stick on that to stop the pass back across the crease, and Ben Bounds there freezes that as we see on the replay, and clearer sight lines now in Ice Arena Wales. Higgins looks to feed that across. I think indeed it is Hotham, but still that's a pad save from Ben Bounds, and a great reactionary pad save.
Walser throws that backhanded, but it's got too much juice on it. Goes all the way back as Martin is caught up in a tussle behind the play as all the players were coming out. Giants with a rush again, buoyed by their latest chance. Hotham, his backhand pass is collected by Joey Martin. A chance on it for Garside, shoots and it's wide. And with all the respect and the will to Garside, if that was Walser, I think maybe it would have been 1-0 Giants. Shot comes in and Bounds will pluck that again. 5:52 left in the period.
Just when you felt the Devils were building some momentum there, and for me, with the way the Devils have been playing, a little bit shy in front of goal. They've certainly come out stronger offensively tonight than I was expecting. I was perhaps expecting to see a real defensive game in the first just to feel their way in, but no, they've opened things up on the home ice. But the Giants hit back there. Great hit from Chris Beach to turn that puck over, and boy, did Garside have a chance to be the first scorer in this building.
But Al, still a lot of turnovers in the Devils' own zone. This has really been the story of the slump, the Devils being the architects of their own downfall on occasions.
Devils will come forward. Mason couldn't keep it in, and now here is Haddad. Haddad will lay that down for Culligan. Culligan collects in behind. He's under pressure from Mason. He's looking for help, but he does get it, and Hudson pinches in for the Devils. Haddad again. Haddad so strong on the puck, but it's just poke checked away, and Rutherford will get it out of the zone for the Giants. Hudson, Haddad, and Haddad can't collect. Desmarais. Hudson. Gets a shout from Batch, and Batch has a bit more ice to work in. Last 5 minutes of the first period now. Batch. To Hudson. Hudson's pass out is cut out, and Boxhill back to Keefe, and this is the energy line for the Giants.
But exhibit one there really for the Devils in terms of that turnover. Great forecheck by Boxhill and Keefe, but Hudson and Batch trying to play catch, not very successfully, and that's why we've got this pressure.
Vandermeer with a shot, and Bounds is great to cut across his crease to make that save. Vandermeer again, Morissette takes that to the cheek.
Really, the Devils there, the architect of their own downfall, even more so, because the forecheck was okay, but it certainly wasn't the most aggressive we've seen from that Giants line, and the Devils, they really turned it over out of nothing.
Now here's Doucette looking to get it onto the forehand, but he's got too many white shirts in attendance and can't make a play. Now here's Hotham. Devils get over the blue line, but once again it's cut out by the Giants. There's a shot coming in, tip, Murphy with a save! Martin it was who tipped out in front, and Murphy saw that one late. Great save from the Belfast Giant netminders. Hotham's skate almost puts that puck into the path of a Giants player, and now Kirker finds Martin. Back to Kirker who shoots, and that's a great save by Stephen Murphy again. Hotham off them looking for an opening, and he can't find one. It just goes wide. What a huge chance for Thomas Kirker to get the first goal.
Yeah, Stephen Murphy has just gone, Ben Bounds, I'll see your saves and I'll raise you 2 more. Those are 2 great reactionary saves again, and even on the bigger ice, we talked about the small ice, the big blue tent, you had to be a good reactionary netminder, but right now these guys are putting on a clinic in terms of reactionary saves.
And if you're a GB fan, you're looking at this and you're thinking, what a goaltending tandem this is. Has there ever been a better 1-2 punch for Team GB?
Indeed, both members, both netminders were in the provisional squad, as that is an offside call with 2:47 left in the first period.
That first save from Kirker, Al, is one that's impressive for me, mainly because we know Stephen Murphy's injury was that groin injury, and that push off, that lateral movement. Well, there he really kind of had to stretch the pad out, extend the pad to make a big save there. So clearly all that injury problem is very much behind him.
I'm no goaltending clinician or anything, but both goaltenders tonight staying so square to the puck, they look supremely confident, but that positioning is key, the way they're staying square to the puck, able to make those saves, and quite frankly they're making everything look relatively easy right now. It's going to take a special shot or a real garbage play to get this first goal.
Fournier wins that foot race but can't get it past Ivato. Vandermeer will get that puck down low behind Bounds. Higgins it is, who tries to find Fournier at the back stick, and it almost made it. Fournier against Fournier. Commentator's nightmare there for the rest of the night. And the Devils chip out with Hendricks, who tries to find Ivato, and it was a good idea from Hendricks. His first pass is usually a good one. As that puck is down, it's going to be Ivato going in for a hook. And with 2:14 left, the Giants have a big power play opportunity here at the end of the first.
Well, guys, that's really criminal to take a penalty in neutral zone ice like that. It looked a little bit of a soft one, but Zach Ivato put himself in trouble, as he did a little bit in the Challenge Cup final last week, taking a penalty at a bad time in neutral ice territory. And those penalties, either in the offensive zone, way away from your net, or in the neutral zone, they're a coach's nightmare. Giants
power play at 24.3 on the road, just a couple of percentage points behind the Cardiff Devils' very own.
So can the Giants get the advantage before the end of the period? First time that they've got their power play legs going, and that's well cut out by the Devils, and they do get it out of the zone. Of course, a feature of Ice Arena Wales we haven't touched upon is the bench setup over across from us. It's a double bench system. Neither team has run afoul of it as yet, but it's a pretty unique situation as Demaray goes down low and Bounds saves. It's a garbage goal out in front possibly, and Bounds does well once again to keep that puck from crossing his line, and now Richardson can't collect it. Lord going to attack the point, but here's Forney.
Power play setup is
Walter with a shot. It's another brilliant save with a pad.
This is an overload. It's 3 guys on the one side, and looking to work that if the Giants get it set up again. Look at the power play movement. It's pretty good. 3 guys cheating on the one side. A great overload power play, giving the Devils all they can handle right now.
Down low, Forney, back and forehand, and now there's going to be a high stick call here, and the face-off will come out of the Devils' zone, and there's 44 seconds left of power play, 58 in the period.
Just to go back to your point about the benches, of course, that perhaps becomes more crucial in the second period with the long change, but also on special teams, which we're seeing now, where players need to get out of the blocks even quicker, perhaps, than on 5-on-5. Not an ideal situation with the double benches, but the Devils perhaps with that little bit of extra time just to work out a plan of what they're going to do, and they look to have a little bit more organisation on their bench than the Giants do right now. I should say, just to clarify that, not in terms of coaching, of course, in terms of the positioning of the players and who's in the front row.
You said it now. Vandermeer forward, and Haddad tries to cut that out, and now Jones, who's going out on the penalty kill. The Giants will settle this down with Raja, who's been absolutely sublime in every visit he's made to Cardiff this year. Raja with a shot, Bounds with a save. Hendricks does well to muscle Raja out of that, and the Devils will get that out of the zone. Excellent work by Trevor Hendricks. Last 30 seconds of the period.
And 10 seconds left on the power play for the Giants, so one more rush perhaps.
Vandermeer. Getting his skating legs going, and there's just a lovely control, isn't there, of his skating and of the puck from Vandermeer. And the penalty has now expired, and we're into the last few seconds of the period, and Vato looks up at the clock and takes a speculative effort. But the first period of Ice Arena Wales is over, and his 2 goose eggs up on the board. So we're just gonna take a few seconds to move into position to discuss this end of period here in Cardiff Bay. And guys, it's a working arena.
You know, the first thing I was going to say, I was a little bit excited. Apologies for the vanity that we might be up on the big screen, Gareth, and we might be able to see ourselves as we were in the big blue tent. But it's a split feed now going on with that sort of stuff. So alas,
a wise decision, I think.
This is normally our moment, but it's a good thing you can't see us.
Yes,
in the arena at least. But yeah, I was impressed. Both teams there were frailties defensively, no doubt about it. Goaltenders bail both teams out, but the Giants have come to play tonight. We know their strength is in their offense, their transition play from D. 2 sides set up extremely similarly. Right now for the Cardiff Devils, they're getting most of their offense from Gleeson Fournier, I would say, but certainly a little bit more will to get forward, a little bit more will to commit men that perhaps I was expecting, given the run that they've been on recently.
It feels a little bit run and gun to me, which is great to watch from an entertainment point of view, but I wonder whether the Belfast Giants might be a little more comfortable with that. Maybe the Devils are playing run and gun when they're not quite sure what their personality is as a team right now, because they are in that slump. If it turns into a run and gun game and the Devils are clutching those sticks a little tight and don't take those scoring chances, well, I think the Belfast Giants are a little bit more sort of loosey-goosey, and Ben Bounds had to keep the Devils in the game a little bit right now, although Stephen Murphy has made some great saves. But you mark the player right there, Al. Gleeson Fournier, most good things are coming from him right now. His skating is really sublime, and his heads-up passing. He picked out Ryan Russell with a chance on the back door, and as I said, if Ryan Russell could have got the one-timer away, that could have been a goal. Similarly on the power play, Joey Haddad maybe a little bit too much time, and again that confidence issue, wasn't quite sure what his move should be, and Stephen Murphy made a save.
You've got to like as well that combination there on the back end for the Devils. They've got a really good balance, you would think, on all 3 of those defensive pairings. Of course, Hotham and Richardson stay together, as they have done since Hotham came to the club at the start of the previous season. But then this season, Fournier goes with Hendricks, and that looks like a good pairing, and Hudson and Batch were good at the start of the year too.
So we're going to take a short break. We're going to go over to our gantry position, our new gantry position, and hopefully we'll have some comments from Chris Hartree about the new rink here as well. So don't go anywhere. More reviews and more interviews here on IceTime.TV.
Back on IceTime.TV, and I'm very privileged and pleased to say I've been joined by Belfast Giants head of hockey operations, but former and legendary Cardiff Devils number 16 and Belfast Giants number 16, Steve Thornton. Steve, good to see you back in Cardiff.
Oh, great to be back for the first game here in this new building. I didn't want to miss this one. I'm glad that the Belfast Giants are the team that gets to play against the Devils.
Now, we will go on to the current situation and talk a little bit about the Belfast Giants, but I do like to reminisce, and of course, you are a former Cardiff Devils, coming over in the 96-97 season, halfway through, and just forming that famous black line with Ken Hodge and Ivan Machulik. That must have been a whole lot of fun.
Yeah, the guys that I still keep in touch with. I mean, Ivan is a great friend of mine still, and we just seem to find chemistry pretty quickly. And I think that's important. I think that's important for a winning team, to get lines that find chemistry fairly quickly. And we just were fortunate back then. And you know, it was a great run. They had a good team before I got there, but I certainly helped spark the guys. And I had great memories. You know, I still remember them to the day. You don't forget when you win championships.
And of course, this is the third incarnation of an ice rink in Cardiff. The first one was the Wales National Ice Rink, where you played for so many years. How important is it, and you have it with the SSE in Belfast, to have that setting where people are comfortable coming in to watch ice hockey? There's the social aspect as well, with comfortable bars where people choose to spend time before and after the game. It's so important for the hockey fan to have a setting they can be proud of.
I think so. I think people are going to be proud to call this their home. You know, I'd like to forget about building number 2 that you guys had. It was a tough place to play. It was a tough environment. But from a fan perspective, it just didn't give you the same kind of atmosphere that this does in terms of your night out. It was a great atmosphere in the building, and it was a great atmosphere for the players on the ice. But this is just a nice environment. It's warm, it's new, it's got all the amenities that you'd want in a new building. It's 1,000 more people in the building as well, which I think is great for the business. If every team in our league could have a building like this, we'd be in great shape.
Now talk to me about the Belfast Giants, because a little while ago in our last league encounter in the Big Blue Tens, I interviewed Rob Stewart, and he felt maybe the Giants were too far off the pace to mount a league title challenge, and maybe you guys fell off the radar a little bit, but you have had that run of only 1 loss in 7 games. You've picked up a pretty stellar ex-NHLer who's come in and I guess provided leadership capabilities. As far as you're concerned, you're very much in this title race right now.
Well, I think it'd be tough to bet on the league right now, that's for sure. Like it is still wide open, and you can see that everybody's beating everybody. I think Vandermeer came in and certainly provided calmness to us. Like it was a 1 game at a time attitude, and let's see what happens. We put ourselves back in the mix. We had a slip up on Saturday, but it's a tough league, you know. Like Ray had coming in, like it's not an easy points anymore. They played well. Their goalie played really well. I thought our team played quite well as well that night. We know that we've got to win against Cardiff. They're ahead of us in the standings, and the focus is obviously like 1 game at a time, 1 period at a time. I know it's very, very cliche, but for our team, we don't have a chance if we drop points. So we just got to keep plugging and hope we give ourselves a chance at the end of the season, because I know Sheffield's in Nottingham, and there's just no easy games. It'd be hard to predict.
Now, take me back to the start of the season. It was obviously a good business decision, I guess, that Derek Walser came in, obviously with a fantastic resume. But last year, you were head of hockey operations, but you were also running the bench. Just a little too much for you, too much for one man to do all that with a huge and successful organization like the Belfast Giants. It was a big decision, and a decision I guess is ultimately perhaps going to prove successful to bring in Derek Walser as player coach.
Well, I think getting a guy like Derek to our league is huge for us. You know, he's one of the top D-men in the league, and he's got a great hockey brain. He's played in some great leagues, and you know, it's never easy coming and adapting to a league like this. And there's certainly there's no book on being a player coach. Like it's a very unique thing to this league. And you know, my philosophy is like we surrounded him with a lot of good people. You know, a lot of really good hockey people. And I wanted to get off the bus with the best team. I thought that was really, really important. And to get a guy like Derek and fit it within our budget, and then I could be there for any help that he needed. We got Rob Stewart on the bench, who's been a head coach on a few teams in this league already, and one of the best captains probably to ever grace these shores, in Adam Keefe, who's got coaching in his blood as well. And Brandon Benedict, former captain of the Nottingham Panthers, who is a legend obviously for us as well. Like I think the fans fell in love with his work ethic on the first year. I think we've got a nice little a group of guys that can drive this boat.
And your thoughts on the first period? Both netminers pretty stellar. Maybe a little bit of run and gun hockey there on the big ice surface. The Devils perhaps suffering from a little bit of drop in confidence right now. Was it the Giants' game plan to try and jump on them early?
Well, I think we want to keep doing what we've been doing on the road, really. Like I think in this situation, in a building like this, on opening night in front of a packed house, it's surviving the first period. Like you really want to get through the first 5 minutes and hope that you can take a few whistles, win your face-offs, play in their zone, and quiet the building, really. And that's a game plan of any team to come into a situation like this. Thought we did a pretty good job. I thought both teams had chances. Thought it was fairly even. 2 really good teams. You know, it was a good game of hockey. I think Cardiff is still going to have to find their way in this building. I think they knew exactly where the puck was going to bounce every time they shot the puck off the boards in the old building. They just got used to it, and that's going to come with time here. Both teams know how important these points are, and they're playing like it. They're making sure that they're well, we need to score a goal, but they're making sure that they're in the game.
And just finally, and you were good enough to talk to us on our Live on the Ice program a few weeks ago in Belfast about this, but for anyone who didn't have the chance to see that, you're obviously involved in the Elite League at board level. We feel when we talk in commentary, the Elite League is in its best position it has been at the moment. Everybody on the board seems to be for the growth of the league. It seems to be the most workable board and productive board that the league has had for a while. As far as you're concerned, the Elite League is going in the right direction.
I think so. We've got a lot of teams in that meeting that are all striving for the same thing. You know, we all want success of every team. We recognized when Hull dropped out last year, we needed to be a 10-team league. We want to be growing in numbers, not dropping in numbers. So we managed to get Manchester in. I think some of the businesses are doing really well, and we're doing what we can to help each other. You know, it's I think as good as it's ever been. We don't want to get to a point where we're spending too much money where you can't afford to do it anymore, like it was with the Super League. I don't think we're there yet, but we still want the product to keep improving. And I think you can see tonight, over the last 3 years even, where the hockey is compared to where it was. It's unbelievable.
Steve, always great to see you in Cardiff. Thank you very much for joining us on IceTime.TV on opening night.
Thank you for having me.
We're back here in Ice Arena Wales for the Cardiff Devils against Belfast Giants. It's locked at 0-0. That first goal eluded us in the first period, but there were plenty of opportunities, and we saw some outstanding goaltending from both sides.
We did, and maybe some things never change. The teams have come out, and there's quite a lot of surface water on this ice pad at the moment. The referee not happy that the puck can transition or move as smoothly as it should. So we've got a little bit of a delay, but yes, that gives us a chance to reflect on the first period. And what a clinic in terms of net minding from Stephen Murphy and Ben Bounds, really producing stellar save after stellar save. And both teams got to be scratching their heads right now, wondering how they've not got a goal on the board.
Well, absolutely. I was primed and ready for the first goal call here in Ice Arena Wales as Kirker lingered forward in that crease area. I thought he was there. I had what I was going to say in my mind all ready to go, and Stephen Murphy robbed me of my imagine the thing I was born to do to make that goal here in Ice Arena Wales. But it is a fascinatingly poised situation, and as we said in that break there, we're no closer to knowing who's going to take the initiative here in Ice Arena Wales and in this title race, as Hogarth is still studying this puck quite intently.
Yeah, it's. I certainly thought the ice played a lot better in the first period to anything we've seen in the Big Blue Tent. I thought the pad looked quicker. Of course, it's concrete base now, as I understand it, and not the sand base that you had in the Big Blue Tent, and should lead to better quality ice. Certainly, I thought in the first period it looked a faster game and a better ice surface, but a few teething problems on opening night. We've had a little bit of standing water at the start of this second period.
Also, you don't know what the temperature is going to do to this ice pad with so many people in the building. This is the first run through with so many bodies here being loud and proud.
Devils get that in the zone through Carl Hudson. Beach will play that well down low. Forney will have to handle it. Culligan, though, strips him of the puck and will just fire it in, but Beach recovers well. Might be a chance now. Backhand try, still there, just whistles wide of Murphy there, who may have got caught out there from the backhand effort, but in the end it was just wide of the post. This Culligan, Havato, Haddad line starts again. Andrew Lord likes the energy that line brings to start this game, it seems. We've got an offside on the play, though, and we get a whistle with just 32 seconds gone in the second.
Of course, Carl Hudson coming back into the lineup tonight, and he's another defenseman on the big ice that you think his skating style will suit this setting. And we've talked about it a lot, about the players who have dropped out of the Devils lineup and the response that they've given when coming back in. Carl Hudson, perhaps more heartbreaking than most, missing the Challenge Cup final last weekend. He's had a solid game so far. Look to him to play more of a role like Gleason Fournier, though, and really use his skating style and skating stride to try and lead the offense. Mark Garside will fire that round to the Belfast Giants, playing on defence tonight. The versatile player, he's alongside Walter, and for the Giants now, Radja is out there with Demarais. It's there now with Garside, just fires that in wide of bounds, though. It's David Rutherford who completes that line for the Giants. Fournier is just muscled off the puck, but then recovers well, and will get that one out the zone and make a nice chip play to Jake Morissette. Well, they'll just mishandle that there, allows the Giants to regain control of the puck. The Devils won't get the change perhaps they were looking for, and it's back now with Trevor Hendricks, who makes a nice outlet pass, and that's an underrated part of his game with space. Shot comes in, Doucette there with that quick whisker, still there out front, and it was Morissette who tried to find a way in. It's back now with Andrew Hotham. The Devils change their defence. Hotham winds, fires, and just finds it way wide of Murphy again, perhaps off the deflection, and the Devils have the puck back in the neutral zone. A little bit of a fan pass there, but that was good work from Andrew Lord just to get away from Keefe, but then the Giants turned that over. Derek Walser is away. He's got Boxall with him. Walser puts the brakes on, will look for an outlet pass, and he's got options there. Instead skates inside as the Giants set up almost like a power play formation here with players at the net, and no surprise that one of those is Adam Keefe, the immovable object. Back with Walter, now winds and fires through. Good block it was from Mark Richardson. The Giants still have it though with nearly 2 minutes gone in the second period. Now there's a chance there as Bounds is strong and is near post. Then we'll get a whistle as Sight has lost to that puck, but it was Adam Keefe there barrelling his way to the net, making a nuisance of himself in front of Ben Bounds.
You know, we've seen in the past Adam Keefe and Darryl Lloyd, when we were in the tent, come in and absolutely dominate games physically, and you wondered, is it just the tent that was built for them? But I think what we're seeing tonight is actually they can do it on any ice pad at any intensity in any game. They really are that good. And Adam Keefe, I think, was someone maybe a few Devils fans thought we could take away, but he's Mr. Belfast, and he's turned up again tonight.
Shields there gets it back to Mitch Ganzak, but then a mishandle means he's got to turn and some speed going to get away from Andrew Lord. Then a hard pass. It was too hard for Craig Peacock, and that one now finds Andrew Lord. Then he makes a nice play, but Hotham just can't corral that puck, and it means the Devils go from a potential offensive zone opportunity to having to clear their own lines. They do so, and that one will bounce around enough that there's no icing. Still, we have another puck hit the scoreboard. I thought we might have had that by now, much talked about, but it hasn't happened yet. The Giants look to work their way towards the net. That one, the outlet is there, but again, it's just a little bit too hard to pass that one up to Andrew Lord from Thomas Kirk at that time.
And you have to say the Belfast Giants are looking the more comfortable in this early second period. The Devils still lacking a little bit of rhythm, but maybe they get a break here.
Well, talking about comfort, sorry Al to cut across there. Derek Walser looks a lot more comfortable in this setting than he did in the big blue tent.
Beach will work his way in, fire, but it's a glove save from Bounds again, looking hugely comfortable there in the Devils' goal.
Because slightly different to Andrew Lord, who is a very talented hockey player, but Derek Walser, he's not only the player coach, you'd probably say he's the best player on the Belfast Giants roster. He needs to almost be their best player every night, along with Stephen Murphy. He has struggled in the big blue tent this season, but tonight, I think, on the bigger ice surface, he's been dictating play. He played catch a little while ago with Gansak, slowed everything down in the zone, and created a good scoring opportunity for the Giants. A quality hockey player.
Just over 3 minutes gone in the second period then, still no goals. As the Giants fire that one around, and Forney will take a bump but make a good play there to Chris Higgins, will then work hard in the corner and get away from Chris Culligan. Higgins shows out front, there's a chance down the back door, and it was Chris Beach there, but that puck just eluded him, as it seems intent on not finding its way to the back of either net right now. Zacavato up on the wing, fires it through, but it's a good block play there from Walser with the stick. Carl Hudson has it now, will rim that one around the boards, but there's not too much pressure on Chris Beach, who'll find an outlet there, and then we just get a whistle there, and we'll get a stoppage in play. Just shy of 4 minutes gone in this second period.
Guys, I don't know whether we can get a replay of that chance for Chris Beach at the back door there, but I really think that sums up the season that Josh Batch is having there. Josh Batch tied up the stick on the back door and actually stopped that scoring opportunity, as perhaps we see it now. I think he takes Beach's stick away and does a great job on the back door there, tying up Beach on a scoring chance, and then when the puck broke and the Devils looked to break away, it was Batch who was leading the rush and was the first guy to the net. We're still seeing it on the replay. Look at Josh Batch go to that net. That is Josh Batch this season for the Cardiff Devils. Great defensively, also very good offensively.
And that's two key defensive plays, perhaps goal-saving plays from Josh Batch already in this game, one in the first, one in the second. Gleason Forney will get a hold of the puck, but taken away from him by Mitch Gansak, and we see the Devils at the moment going with three-line hockey, and I just wonder whether we might see Fournier, that combination of Fournier out there, maybe go with Martin at some point, because it's Fournier offering most of the offense for the Devils, whether you get him out there with a Martin line. Here are the Giants though stepping in.
Longer change though, Al, I think, for the Devils. That's why they've shortened the bench maybe. They don't want that fourth line stuck out against a powerful Belfast Giants unit. So in this second period, perhaps you'll see less of that fourth line unit for the Devils.
Devils get that one in the zone, and here is Joey Martin up against James Desmarais. Martin gets away from him, then turns back perhaps into trouble and gets separated from the puck, and Mike Wilson will try and clear that one, but a good cut-out play from Andrew Lord, who then is descended upon by Jim Vandermeer. Vandermeer then gets that over to Mike Wilson. What a defensive combination that is. Wilson perhaps the Giants' best all-round defenseman this season, certainly impressed hugely in the big blue tent.
You look at that play then, though, you had Martin and Desmarais, probably the two most purely skilled guys in an absolute battle for the puck. Their work rate is what sets them apart from many other skilled players in this league.
So right now, a little bit run and gun in the first period. This one's descended a little bit more into a chess match, as both sides perhaps drop the intensity slightly and look to work their way through, and Murphy there just handcuffed for a moment, but gets that one safely to the boards, turning away as player coach Derek Walser gets that one up on the wing now, and Adam Keefe will muscle his way along the boards, but it's taken away by Thomas Kirker. Andrew Lord, nice play from Lord it was, set Kirker away, he's got Walser with him though, skate with anybody in this league, chance out front, oh, save it was from Stephen Murphy so big I lost my voice there as he made that save. He almost surprised me the way he made that save. Again, staying so square to the shooter. What a beautiful save with 14-13 left in the second.
Kirker is looking a lot more comfortable on this big ice, and you've seen him back check just before this as well, which is really what set this up. But Joey Martin had history on his stick there, didn't he?
It was, but it was the touch pass by the player, Coach Andrew Lord, which we didn't see in the replay, right at the top of the zone, that set that chance off. Andrew Lord, lovely quality play there, and as you rightly say, Gaz, Thomas Kirker enjoying the greater space offered by Ice Arena Wales.
Darrell Lloyd's lost the stick here, but he'll try and find a way to the bench, but he's got to play the puck now and will make a use of himself in the neutral zone, but he's still on the ice, and the Devils will go here with Havata with the brakes on, then tries to find a way out front, but it's Chris Culligan there who couldn't get the stick down on the back post, then fired in, but a misplay there on the blue line from Joey Haddad meant the Devils couldn't build anything, and the Giants will eventually clear. The Devils looking to build something perhaps off that chance for Joey Martin there that sent me back to my teenage days. At least a save from Murphy anyway. Here are the Devils in the zone, looking to build that momentum, but Chris Higgins does well along the boards, gets it over, but Joey Haddad will recover there, and now it's with Trevor Hendricks, who goes to his defensive partner Carl Hudson. Nice outlet there to Ryan Russell, who then goes up to Joey Haddad. Already perhaps seeing more passes strung together in these first two periods in Ice Arena Wales that we would see in a number of matches at the Big Blue Tent. Such as the lack of space in that building. Ganzak does well to get that one to the boards, but Hendricks pinches him well, and then it's turned over again. We're just getting a little bit of scrappy play here with already nearly 7.5 minutes gone in this second period. Mason is out-muscled there by Guy Doucette. Might be a chance there. Bubbles in front of Murphy. Then the chance there as Morissette tried to pluck that one out of thin air. Then the Devils feed it out front. But taking another play was Gleeson Fournier. We're going to see a penalty against the Belfast Giants. 12:30 left in the second.
Yeah, hooking call there as Fournier tries to jump into the play. Maybe a little soft, but Gleeson Fournier is giving the Giants kittens because he is looking to jump into the play all the time. Morissette and Doucette there, both very good on the forecheck, turning that puck over, and the Giants' defensive coverage never really got set.
Morissette is really the battery that makes this Devils machine tick over, isn't he? We've had Andrew Lord all season talk about how he's played with him for many years and he put him in any situation, and I think again tonight Doucette needs a little help. Who does he put with him? He puts Jake Morissette. Why? Because Jake Morissette is going to do exactly what Jake Morissette needs to do to make that line work, and that's such an underrated skill in a hockey player, whether it be a hockey player at this level, the NHL, any level you want to put it on. To have a guy you can depend upon like that is something really special.
Guys, just while we've got this delay, your call for fans to tune in, Gaz, has been answered. Hello to Jill and friends, cheering on the Giants in Hollywood, County Down tonight. Hope you guys are enjoying it, and anybody else who wants a shout out on opening night, please get in touch.
Gleeson Fournier has it now. We'll look for a lane fire, but it's just blocked out front. The Devils with a lot of offense on this power play. Just Gleeson Fournier, the only defenseman, and perhaps the most offensive, creative force for the defenseman tonight, out there with Lord, Martin, Kirker and Doucette for the Giants. They've got Jim Vandermeer back there with Mike Wilson, and the forwards are Shields and Boxhill. Here's Andrew Lord in the zone. 1:37 left to work with on this power play. Martin will get it back to the point, but Fournier will look for more room, and it's there with Kirker, who does well in the end to keep that in the zone as the Devils fight their way through to set this up. But there's a lost stick there for Wilson, and he won't have a chance to get that as the Devils, well, he might have a chance now in the corner. Then he just handles that. But away come the Devils. Chances there. Martin shoots. Big save from Murphy again. What a save that was with the left shoulder as Martin had too much time and space for the Giants' liking. 1:09 left on this power play for the Devils. Good play from Vandermeer just to separate Martin from the puck. The Devils can't quite get control of things right now on the power play. They might now as they look to set things up. Gleeson Fournier looking for a passing option as Andrew Lord will try and get a hold of the puck, but just fighting it a little there. Kirker gets it back to him, but the Giants with a good kill so far with 40 seconds left, and that one gets out of the zone. 40 seconds left in the power play.
Well, we know that Jonathan Boxhill is one of the best penalty killers in the league. He was joined there by Colin Shields, and their pressure there on the Devils right at the end of that setup was very, very good. Thomas Kirker could not escape Colin Shields. The chance was lost, and the Devils continue to struggle on their power play.
The Devils power play, such a weapon over the course of the season, got them out of jail in a few games or started the momentum, but right now for the Devils it's been a weak point, and it's something you feel if they get the confidence going with that, they might get it going. There's a chance, their shot comes in! It's saved, is it? Huge save, everybody in the building I think thought that one in, and now there's a question mark. What did you see,
lights,
guys?
well, the lights, I assume that's the goal light behind the goal. I'm just getting things sorted to replay. The goal light is in. I think Stephen Murphy has jammed this against the post, and it's a great save.
Oh, does that creep over? It's impossible to tell from here, I think.
Unfortunately, we don't have the camera.
Do we want this to be the first goal?
It's a fantastic pass by Zach Avato, and Ryan Russell makes a great one-time, one-touch finish on it. Stephen Murphy, what acrobatics, jammed that there against the post. Did it trickle in? We're going to see if we can slow this down for you. Certainly, guys, the red light is on. Does it go back in off Murphy's pad? Maybe off the post down and back in off Murphy's pad, but I've got to say, I'm just guessing there. So this was the referee in a difficult position.
Dave Newton is the goal judge in behind that net, and I don't think it's been given.
I got to say, I think that's a good call, because we
can't be sure.
You can't be sure, and Stephen Murphy, I think, has jammed his pad against the post there, and unless you can be 100% sure, I'm going to go with the referee on that one. Good call.
And we should say we've got a little bit of an internal competition going here, with Gaz calling the first and third pitch, me doing the second. And to be honest with you, if that had been the first goal from a call point of view, a question mark over it, I'm glad it wasn't in that sense.
Yeah, we both would have lost.
We both would have lost. Giants are back to full strength. They might have a chance of their own there, but it can't find a way through Ben Bounds, which Ganzak will get a hold of it now, though. It's there, but just taken away there. No call on the players. There might have been a case for one there, but the Giants keep that puck in the zone, fired around the boards. So much more space for both clubs on this ice surface. Here they go again. Chris Higgins with those hands gets it over to Michael Forney. Mike Wilson has it now. Will send it down into the corner. As Richardson does well there up against Higgins, but then Higgins will get it. There might be a chance there, but again, you feel if Forney was a left-handed player, might have found a way through. 2-on-3 situation for the Devils. Just fired in. Easy save for Stephen Murphy. We'll get a whistle with 9:37 left in the second period.
And the well wishes keep on coming into IceTime.TV tonight. So hello to Colin, Kirsty and Sam. They're watching in County Down. So let's go Giants is the cry from them. And they are still in this one. 0-0. Could have easily been 1-0 down with that big chance. But thanks for tuning in, guys. Hope you're enjoying it at this very historic first game live on IceTime.TV.
Giants will come out of their own zone. Nice outlet pass that is. It sets away James Demeray over the blue line. Shoots just to catch Ben Bounds perhaps by surprise there. But can't find a way through with just 9:25 left, over halfway in this hockey game.
Guys, for you, Demeray, the surprise package of the league this year. He's got a good scoring record in Switzerland, but maybe he wasn't one of the standout stellar signings around the league in the summer, but he just looks a very quality hockey player. Veteran, manages the puck so well, as I've called a number of times, plays well down low. He's a real treat to watch. Yeah, he is. Ryan Finnerty was a great shout earlier in terms of the way he protects that puck, but he's got a touch of Joey Martin about him as well, with the way he can dish it. You know, that's a complete guy in this league, and it's been a joy to watch in every visit he's made here, but tonight especially looking good again.
Fired in through traffic, a deflected play there, finds itself with Mike Wilson, who looks for that outlet. Breaking away was David Rutherford, but it couldn't find him, and the Devils will go back into the zone with 9 minutes left in this second period. Now with Jim Vandermeer, the ex-NHLer. Sent cross ice, but just out of the reach of Wilson. He does well there, but it means Hudson could come and finish a hit on him. And Devils will get out of the zone, but only as far as James Demeray. Lloyd will send that one in. Chasing the puck is Colin Shields, but Hudson has it now as the Devils look for a better outlet this time. Here they go, Joey Martin up on the wing to Andrew Lord. Martin still has a chance, shoot! They score! Joey Martin, the first goal for the Devils in Ice Arena Wales.
But do we? Because the Belfast Giants are furious right now. That puck, you heard the sound of it hitting a pad. Certainly it was a softer sound, but the red light has gone on again, and it's not beautiful, it's not pretty, but if it's a goal, the Devils will take it.
That one definitely made its way past Murphy. That one was definitely in behind him at some point. For me, that one looks much more of a goal than the first one.
We see it slow down here. Andrew Lord again, good zone entry. And Joey Martin stays with the play. Yeah, that is, it looks like it's rimmed around the back of the net and come out.
I think that's nestling at that post. Lord was sure. I think that one's nestling in. I mean, they haven't been to speak to the goal judge on this occasion. I really, for me, that one looks to me like it's crept in. I don't see how that stayed on the line.
The sound to me was pad, but I wonder, is it the pad at the back of the net? As the referee awards the goal. Certainly the sound in the arena from up here was the puck hitting the pad, but referee Hogarth is convinced on this occasion. 1-0 Devils. Slow this down, and again the Giants maybe mishandle that puck a little bit. Martin stays with the play, quick release.
That's over for me there. When you can see it at the far stick, I think that's gone over the line, and I don't see how we can get there past Murphy without it having gone over the line completely.
But it's not pretty, but perhaps fitting that the league's top points getter is the first goal scorer in Ice Arena Wales. Congratulations, Joey Martin.
Absolutely.
And the Giants are leaving the ice, and Hogarth is actually going to have a word here. There was protesting going on off the ice still. I mean, he's not going to change his mind now. St. Clember isn't here.
Yeah, so Joey Martin gets his 28th goal of the season, his 79th point. And if you talk about Ben Bounds, perhaps as the Devils, we're going to see a misconduct here happening.
He actually caught Hogarth with his stick there, which is going to leave him in a lot of trouble. I don't think he meant to. He was gesticulating to someone else, but to have caught Hogarth with that, that's a needless thing to have done there.
Well, the Giants could implode right now because Jason Ellery at the bench is giving the ironic applause. Everybody is unhappy on that Belfast Giants bench. They're pointing to the big screen.
You talk about not getting emotionally involved with the officials, and this is a theme we've talked about with the Devils and Giants. Lord cut this right out of the Devils' play early on last season. It's been a theme for the Giants this season under the leadership of Walter. As good a player and as good a coach he is, and over one goal, you can understand a reaction perhaps, but this is a big reaction at a 1-0 hockey game with still nearly half the game to go, right?
I couldn't agree more. It is something that if you are going to be a little bit critical of a Derek Walter team this year, is that they can be perhaps easily taken off their game if decisions go against them. They are a high-quality hockey team, but we've seen this a number of times, and certainly then the reaction to what they consider maybe a bad goal, but as you rightly say, Al, only one goal with 8 minutes remaining in the second period, perhaps not into the proportion of what was needed.
I actually wondered as well that I think Hogarth has thrown him out as well, actually. I think that we'll wait for that official announcement, but no one's gone to the bench. I think it was
it was two misconducts together.
Yeah.
I think it was the signal was two misconducts together on the same player, which to my understanding is then the game misconduct. So we await to see, did you guys see which player it was at the bench? But certainly the Giants are down a man, I think, on a game misconduct penalty.
We will try and get that news to you as quickly as possible. We might get it now from the announcement from Todd Kelman.
It's Craig Peacock who has taken the game misconduct penalty, and that's for two instances at the bench of individual penalties or personal penalties, 10-minute misconduct. He was assigned two at the same time, from my viewing anyway, and Craig Peacock, a big goal scorer for the Belfast Giants, of not just accumulation of points, but big goals in big situations. He'll be missing for the remainder of the game.
And you have to keep in control. You can't be making contact with the official. Again, I would really like to stress, I don't think that was an aggressive maneuver from Peacock to strike Hogarth, but he was so incensed that he lost sight of where his stick was, and it did make contact with Hogarth. Hogarth has absolutely no option other than send
Here's
him.
Gleeson Fournier, the beauty of Fournier, shoots, and somehow it doesn't find a way through Stephen Murphy. I've got no idea how, to be honest with you. That one had goal written all over it. We're not going to get a whistle there. Gleeson Fournier there. What a beautiful moment that was to grace Ice Arena Wales with, even though it didn't end up in a goal.
Well, the old Hockey Night in Canada start where Mario Lemieux mesmerises his way through the Minnesota North Star defence. That was Gleeson Fournier there. That would have been a goal to call out. That would have graced any arena in the world.
Devils will try and keep that in the Giants zone, but Garside there with a nice outlet in the end over to Chris Beach, who handles it well, then puts the brakes on. Might be a chance there, as it was Michael Forney going towards the net, but he couldn't get his stick on it for the deflection, and the Devils will come again into the zone, but the Giants do well defensively. Beach has been good for the Giants tonight. Will shoot, and it's well handled by Bounds, and Batch will muscle Beach away from the net as well. 7:04 left in the second.
I just think it's important now from a Belfast Giant perspective just to not dwell on what's happened. You've lost a player, you've lost a goal, and I think we, as we have talked about before, there has been times where maybe Derek Walter has laboured too much on decisions. You know, they're well in this game. I mean, another goal and you can see them getting momentum to get a second. It's by no means a lost cause this game. We've got just less than half of it left, and we're still very much game on here in Ice Arena Wales.
Here's Chris Higgins looking to pull a move there. Mike Forney has muscled away from the puck though, and here comes the Cardiff Devils. Chris Culligan there will get that into the zone, evading the hit, and Stephen Murphy will get a hold of it. 6:48 left in the second, 1-0 Devils.
The shout-outs continue, and this time it's a little closer to home. Steve and Deb in Penturk, they're watching on IceTime.TV. We hope you enjoyed the first goal. I'm assuming, guys, that they might be Devils fans in that neck of the woods, so hopefully you enjoyed Joey Martin's first marker here, first ever marker at Ice Arena Wales.
Devils win the draw there. It was Martin up against Demaray, and Andrew Lord handles well. Going into the net is Andrew Hoffman here. Still with Hoffman with a try there, and he's bundled into Stephen Murphy. It was a good save actually from Murphy there as Hoffman was making his way towards the net. Then the hit came in, but we'll get a whistle there. It's the second time Andrew Hoffman has ended up in the net this evening. 6:38 left in the second.
But do you think the Devils may be trying to up the ante a little bit at this time while the Giants are a little shaken? The next 2 or 3 minutes, maybe the next 2 or 3 shifts before the Giants truly recover. The Devils, I'd imagine, Andrew Lord, the word from the bench, Neil Francis, Jamie Elson, might ask the rest of his players to really lead the charge.
Also, this is the first time in a couple of games where the Devils have had a lead, and maybe that confidence that breeds from that lead is what they've been searching for, just that little spark plug.
Oh, we're going to get a high stick here, I wonder. There's a little bit of contact there. The other thing, just to follow up that point, Gareth, is that's over just around about 90 minutes of hockey the Devils hadn't scored. Actually over, because the overtime period is probably over 100 minutes worth of hockey the Devils hadn't scored a goal in. So that's a big moment as well from a psychological point of view to get that goal.
One more shout out, guys, before the play starts again. It's Francisco and Chris in Switzerland enjoying the great coverage. Well, guys, thank you for the kind words. Hope you're enjoying it. I believe there's also Steve in Finland cheering on the Giants. So we all hope you're enjoying this first ever game.
Sorry to cut over you there, John. A big chance for Raja, but the Devils will come here. 2-on-1 situation. Andrew Lord puts the ring. Chance back door. He scored! Joey Martin is second of the night. There's no doubt about that one.
And boy, Andrew Lord just showed patience. He's got Joey Martin coming up. There was no doubt, in my opinion, what he wanted to do. You want to get the league's top scorer on that puck, and Murphy did his best to save it, but now we've got a game on with the Devils.
But Martin fans on this shot. If he gets that cleanly, does Murphy make the save maybe with his pad? I think Martin fans on that shot, and the puck trickles between the 5-hole. Maybe we'll get another look at that. If you're a Cardiff Devils fan right now, who cares? Because Joey Martin's got 2, the Cardiff Devils have got 2, and at the moment, the slump looks to have been broken.
Joey Martin's 29th of the season, and the Devils might have another chance. Deflected play out front. That one whistles wide of Murphy, though. 6:10 left in the second. The Devils playing with that jump now. Chances there. Huge save it was. Murphy has 48 stepped in and let a laser fly there, but he saw it all the way. Did Murphy? Made the save. 6:05 left in the second. We're going to hear a replay of that goal right now.
Well, as we see this play breaking up, I missed that. I was still doing shout-outs. Great lead pass there, 2-on-1. Guys, you made the right call. Andrew Lord only had one thought, delayed the pass, but he fans on that shot, Joey Martin. Who cares, though? For him, it's his second goal of the night.
Well, you got to be lucky to be good and good to be lucky sometimes.
Fournier fires it through, and I'm not sure Murphy saw all of it. There might be another chance there as that one gets sent in, as the Giants are a little bit all at sea right now, and the Devils game is looking a little bit more direct, and that's the way Andrew Lord wants this team playing, but the Giants come away with the impressive Chris Beach. Up on the wing they go, but Forney collides with the linesman, and it allows the Devils to get to that puck first. Walser has it now, though, just fires it along the boards for Chris Higgins, who works his way out of the corner. Well, backdoor chance was there, but it was away from the stick of Beach, who's been a real threat for the Giants, certainly in this second period. Here they go again. Another chance there, deflected play as the Devils now take their turn to be a little bit all at sea defensively, but the Giants aren't clinical, at least at the moment.
Two soft plays by Guy Doucet there, and 2 turnovers resulted from it. The Devils can't be fancy in their own zone. Just use the glass, use the boards, clear it out. But Fournier and Doucet trying to play a bit too much tic-tac-toe hockey in their own zone. That created the problems for the Devils.
5 minutes left then in this second period. The Devils with that 2-0 lead. Will they continue to play in the same way, or will they look to go a little bit more defensive with one eye on how crucial these points are? And we're going to get another call here. I think this one's going to go against the Giants. Yes, it is. There's going to be a call here, and they don't like that call. Is that Mitch Ganzak down there? We'll just get a check. We're going to get a face right now. It is Mitch Ganzak. He's going to sit for 2. Devils with a big chance here with the momentum. 4:46 left in the second.
Well, it's going to be a call that I don't think the Giants are going to take kindly to again. For me, it's maybe a little bit soft, that one. I didn't see much roughing when it comes to that, but the fact remains with 4:46 left, the Belfast Giants are on the penalty kill.
Guys, I'm just available for wedding discos and bar mitzvahs now. I'm doing all the shout-outs. But we're great to have the feedback and the contributions to the program. And this is a shout-out to Ray and Trish. You're watching in Bridgend, and Megan is watching in Southampton. We think all 3 of you guys are cheering on the Devils. You've got to be happy. It's a 2-0 game right now, and we thank you for your kind words about IceTime.TV. Enjoy the game, guys.
Incredible what a goal does, isn't it? A team playing with 0 confidence, it seems, finds a way to score, and all of a sudden it's looking like the Cardiff Devils for the majority of this season that we've seen. Doucet then. Can the power play get going as well now? That's the thing the Devils need to start firing. It doesn't there as that one hops over the stick of Carl Hudson. And for Andrew Lord, if his power play can get working again, which has been such a weapon, that would be a huge bonus in this final run-in. Giants do well so far. They're 1:35 left to kill for them. Yeah,
it really is looking like the Devils are at their most comfortable that we've seen them for some games now. I don't mean comfortable as in the game is over and done with. I mean comfortable in that they look more a unit going forward and more a unit at the back, and it's really something as simple as goals that can do that in this game. And I think it's now vital that they go into the period break with 2-0 or better.
But the worry, I think, still, if you're going to put a dark cloud over it, is maybe the power play. At the moment, the guys are clutching their sticks a little tight. Thomas Kirker is playing on the back end. That's a position he's taken on and off all season. I'm still not sure he's a power play quarterback. I prefer him more on the half boards for a one-timer with his great release. On the unit we see out on the ice now, Joey Haddad is playing the point position. And do you really have a natural centre on this line? Ryan Russell is playing that role at the moment, but the Devils' power play units at the moment just looks as if they've been a little bit disjointed for a number of weeks, and confidence has gone.
Here's Fournier, and such a graceful skater he is, and almost found a good opportunity there, short-handed. 56 seconds left on this power play, and Zach Havato is going to get some power play time here, and he's the centre for the Devils out there, but perhaps not the most creative force, but he'll certainly be a handful, you feel, for the Giants. But that's well turned over. There's a 2-on-1 situation here, Walzer and Beach, but what a cutout play that was. It was Andrew Hotham there showing the defensive side to his game, but Walzer still has it on a good kill for the Giants. 30 seconds left they have. Good battle along the boards it is, and that one gets eventually freed by the Devils, who've got 20 seconds to maybe find one more goal scoring opportunity. But as good as the Devils look 5-on-5 in the last few moments, the power play could just kill them here a little bit, as they just can't get anything going. Murphy with the easy clearance, 10 seconds left. The Giants have got to be happy with the way they're killing this penalty, but they're not having to do an awful lot of work.
Well, yeah, you got Havato playing some power play, playing as a winger, where he has played, but maybe a little foreign to him.
Might be a chance for him here now. Shoots, gets the quick wrister away, likes to score from that position. We've seen it a few times in this season. The Giants back to full strength though, and they'll be able to get an odd man rush going here perhaps. Jonathan Boxhill will fire that in. Blocked by Mark Richardson though, and James Desmarais will get the puck in that area where he loves to make those plays. Over to Mike Wilson, 2:27 left in the second period. Chances there, deflected play, still out front, still a chance there, they score! James Desmarais.
Well, Desmarais in the right spot at the right time, but guys, I think this puck comes in and is on Mark Richardson's stick, but he can't corral it. It goes up in the air a little bit. Desmarais there, and Hotham doesn't really clear out there. Oh, it's Hotham on both occasions. He doesn't handle the puck in the first instance. That's good pressure there by Raja. And Desmarais just stays with the play. Hotham, for me, doesn't clear out as he should. And For the Devils, I think that's a bit of a soft goal to give away, but a big goal for the Belfast Giants, bring them right back into this.
And Desmarais deserved that. And we've got Mojo and Dazza who said that the game wasn't looking too good for them watching all the way in Belfast. It's very much game on now in Ice Arena Wales, so strap yourself in, guys. It'll be a big windy road from here on in.
Desmarais, the Giants' leading scorer, now gets his 22nd goal of the season there, and certainly he's looked like their best player this evening, perhaps alongside Chris Beach, certainly amongst the forwards. And an all too easy goal for him in the end, but it gets the Giants right back into it here. And we said that the power play might kill the Devils, and it seemed to give the Giants the momentum there. But what can they do now, the Devils? Firing it through, but Murphy has recomposed himself. There's a good battle there with Raja, and Haddad was in out front of him. 1:48 left in this second period. You said, Gareth, it's important the Devils hold that lead. It's certainly important they keep the 1-goal lead they have now, because that would really be a body blow for a team which still probably is a little bit fragile in the confidence department right now. Hudson will send that in. 1:30 left in the second period. Kept in by Lord. Thomas Kirker will try and work his way away from the balls. Send it right around to Trevor Hendricks. Kirker is back there now. Good push back from the Cardiff Devils with 1:15 left in this second period. Here is Andrew Lord, going to work his way out of the corner. Does well in the end to keep that in the zone, and Hendricks just fires it in. And in the end, that's probably a good result for the Devils, who are well boxed out there by the Giants. They get the offensive zone face-off with 1:04 left in the second.
Yeah, important pushback, as you correctly said, Al, for the Devils there, just to make sure that their heads don't drop. You know, we're talking about a goal flowing, making the confidence flow when you're in a slump, but equally when you concede, you start to get a little bit edgy in and around each zone. So very important last minute of this period for both teams.
Here's Derek Walser with that familiar style, gets over the blue line, but is stood up well there, then gets in a battle along the boards with Mark Richardson, but does well to get it in the zone. Hoffman will chase after Darryl Lloyd. It's back on the point now. Might be a chance there for Lloyd, but it caught in his skates, and away is Guillaume Doucette with Jake Morissette, two players who will look to find their scoring touch playing with each other. Good play there it was from Doucette to get that in on Murphy. The Devils' offensive zone faced off again, this time with 39 seconds left in the second.
Guys, I am going to court controversy here, but Andrew Hotham took a lot of plaudits off me for the first 3 or 4 months of the season. Right now, Andrew Hotham is playing soft, I think. He gives up the puck then to Darryl Lloyd. I don't think on the goal he clears out enough. I think it's a soft play on the puck. Andrew Hotham needs to be leading the charge right now. He's one of the most skilled, if not the most skilled, defenseman in the league. Gleason Fournier is showing the way. Andrew Hotham needs to recapture his early season form.
Raja fires that in, and almost there it causes Ben Bounce some trouble, and it does cause, and there might be a chance there as that one is fired out front. The puck is still loose, but the Devils will not get it out of the zone as Jeff Mason does well. Ben Bounce does not have his stick right now, and the Giants have the puck in the offensive zone with David Rutherford. Ryan Russell senses the danger and gets there first, but Doucette will have a battle on now, and it's with the Giants with 10 seconds to get a shot away on Bounds, who doesn't have a stick, but that one gets fanned on, and Morissette pounces on Mitch Ganzak, but there's 5 seconds left. Shot comes in, Bounds has his stick back. There's a delayed call here as Murphy will go to the bench. Fired in again, blocked, good save from Bounds on the buzzer. The Devils will take a 2-1 lead, and now we're going to get a little bit else here, and perhaps that's something Andrew Hotham needs. We'll come to the wrap-up in a moment. You talked about it, John, a little bit of that edge that Andrew Hotham had in the first few months of the season. Sometimes getting involved like that can bring a player to life.
Absolutely, and what should be and is a successful period for the Cardiff Devils just feels a little bit now as if they've been set back on their heels a little, conceding that goal, which was perhaps a slightly unnecessary goal to concede at that point. And there's nerves that's crept in again. There's nerves on the bench, there's nerves amongst the stands. So in the context of the game, that's a huge goal for the Belfast Giants, bringing it back at 2-1. And of course now on fresh ice with 2 minutes at the start of the third period with power play time.
This time of the season, John talks about nerves there. This is a team which is flying. This is a team which, on paper, again, of course, the game isn't played there, but is as good as any in the league in the Cardiff Devils. But this is where you really find out about the character of your players. And when you listen to Ben Bounds speak and the way he's been playing, yes, he's had 1 or 2 games maybe recently where he would have liked to have been better by his very own high standards, but he's been so good for this club all season. He gave such a confident interview after that Challenge Cup final. You almost would like to see, perhaps, the DNA of Bounds to be transplanted to some of the other players perhaps who could do with that confidence in their own belief, because that's really what it counts at this point in the season.
Yeah, absolutely, and it's we need more people to stand up from a Devils perspective and to say, you know, that it's that they can win this league. You know, there's not enough sometimes. I think people are almost scared to admit that they're a good hockey team, and I think that confidence that comes through is so important. And yeah, I'd like to see more people stand up like Bounds and say we are a good hockey team that can win this league.
Well, I think the word is swagger. That's the word that Todd Kelman has used about this team. He would like the Cardiff Devils to have more swagger. Right now it's maybe just one game they have to find a way to win, and everything might come from that. But when that goal did go in, it really did seem to set the Devils back on their heels, and confidence is still a little brittle right now for my money.
Thanks for that, guys. You guys at home are going to get a video now of just showing a little bit about the new building. We're going to head over to the other gantry, or the studio. Can we be that elaborate in calling it that as the chuck a puck goes on out on the ice? And then we hope then that Gareth will be joined by Patrick Smith from the King of the Judges. Yes, indeed, he will be. I can see Patrick now. We're all very excited. So they'll be back with you in a bit, and you're just going to see a little bit of a video right now on Ice Arena Wales. See you in a bit.
And welcome back here on IceTime.TV. I'm delighted to be joined by my good friend Patrick Smith, and we talked a lot this week. I think we've probably been overexposing ourselves this week.
Excuse me?
But View for the Bridge podcast host Patrick Smith joins us, and Paddy, you've like all of us, your first visit to Ice Arena Wales. Your first impressions?
Very nice, Smith. It's a fantastic facility. I think it's just perfect for the size of the club and then the amount of fans in here. When I arrived, I saw the big queue to get in. I thought, uh-oh, you know. I thought, but everything. I was just saying to Hannah that the facade of it all looks to be running very smoothly. I'm sure there are a lot of cogs spinning very quickly in the background to try to make it look this smooth, but the whole setup, I'm sure it's not been easy. I'm sure it's been pretty late, but the whole setup so far and everything that we've seen has been fantastic. Just a little bit more from the Giants would go down a bit well.
Well, we'll talk about that. A very passionate response to the first goal. You probably had a better view of it than we did. So maybe your first thoughts on was it a goal? Did it cross that line? What was your view of that? The one that was given.
Well, I don't know whether it showed it on the replay or not, but from where I was, I would call it a goal. It looked like it was very, very close. A number of lads were disagreeing up there. They said it did cross the line, it didn't, because we're talking a matter of millimetres here, so you can understand why referee went with the positive and give the goal, especially considering the goal that was disallowed earlier on. I actually think that was in. So I think we got away with one there. This one we didn't get away with. I think the way that the second period was going, the Devils were very good for that lead. The Giants really need to react, which we did, but unfortunately, Devils going 2-0 up. Mike Wilson doing, unfortunately, the same thing that he did against the Braehead Clan last week, sort of not knowing whether to take the shot or take the pass in lane, not doing either, and next thing you know, Martin's put it in the back of the net.
We saw quite a strong reaction from the Belfast players to that first goal. We've seen it a few times with this Walter team. They're very passionate. They get very agitated very quickly. Positive or negative for you? Does it need to be channeled differently? Your thoughts on that?
We could have done without Peaks being shown the gate. There's a lot on the line for both of these teams. Both of these teams are going after this league championship. Of course, we see what's going on over at the NIC, and maybe not the scoreline that we want to be going on there, but both of these teams are looking for it. So you can understand why, if it is, like I said, a matter of millimetres of the puck going over, why we saw Brandon Benedict leaning over, having a go with the referee. Obviously, Craig Peacock said a few things that he shouldn't have, but both teams are fighting for this, and passions are going to run high.
I don't know if you actually saw from your vantage point, Peacock got thrown out as his stick made contact with Hogarth as he was gesticulating. So that was the reason he got thrown out. It wasn't an aggressive motion, we made that very clear, but he was gesticulating to a linesman, and as he did, his stick caught Hogarth, so I don't think Hogarth had much choice in that. So, and I don't think even Benedict could have seen that happen. It was right out of the benches in front of him. But it's delicately poised once again. This is in some ways coming up to the third period of 6, maybe even 9 if you're going to take the couple of days break into account. You confident of the Giants tying this one up?
It's an epic series of 3 for both teams. It's a season defining for both teams, I think. One team really needs to dominate all 3 games if they want to have a chance of really pushing the Steelers, hoping that they trip up and one team goes on to win the actual league title. With regards to the Giants, I'd like to see a bit more forechecking. I'd like to see a little more action, a little more pushing on the Devils. A few times I've felt we've let them play their game. They've let the pass around at the back and they'll let it set up a little too easy. That's not what we're looking for. If we're going to come in here, I think that the Devils should be there for the taking for us. You guys, it's a lot of pressure coming into a brand new building. You guys have had a bit of a slump recently. You had the disappointment of last Sunday. And maybe you're trying to fight back from that. The Giants should really be a bit more aggressive and be a bit more in your face, and it's not really happening. A few times we've passed it a bit, but like in the first period we see Chris Higgins take a pass when he probably should have taken a shot, maybe not putting as much on Ben Bounds, because we know how excellent Ben Bounds can be and has been in this game. I'd like to see a bit more aggression from the Giants, a bit more forechecking, and a bit more getting in the faces of the Devils.
But I mean, for you, Barry, I mean, it must have seemed at one point that you wouldn't have got to this stage of the season. At one point, it was looking, I know you guys every week are, you're tough but fair on your own team. And I mean, to have got this far, is it, from a Belfast perspective, we've always talked on IceTime.TV, but from a Devils point of view, that sometimes getting there is seen as just enough, and not going over that finish line isn't. For you, is making the challenge enough, or is it a case of you're so used to winning trophies that it has to go that extra mile?
The challenge isn't enough, mate. I think we've been pretty spoiled in Belfast over the last 15 years, and if you take into account should we win this title, it would be 3 titles in 5 years. You're talking about a team that is so used to success and so used to fighting for success that when success doesn't come, we do feel a little that we've died a little bit inside. We want to be there at the final dance. We want to be still in contention right to the end of the season. We want to win the title. Now, if you had asked us back in after that horrendous January that we had, and as you say on the podcast we talked about it, I'd written it off. I hold my hands up, I'd written it off. I thought there was no chance we were coming back into this league title. And then circumstances worked away. We had a brilliant February. Yourselves maybe didn't have the best. The Steelers fell away a bit, and a few losses. The Braehead clan fell apart, and a few losses that allowed us to come back into it, and I started to believe again. And I came here thinking, the Devils are here for the taking, and if we can take 4 points this weekend, then we are well back into it. And I'm looking at flights to go back to Belfast for the weekend, and that's what we want. That's where we want to be. And this team, this fan base, the organisation thrives on success, as anyone does. It's just difficult to get that when you're up against such good teams as the Cardiff Devils and the Sheffield Steelers.
Yeah, and it is an excellent league this year, the best competitive league that I can remember. And in terms of this game, was it a bad time for you guys to play the Devils? We talked before the game that maybe this occasion gave a lick of paint to the previous form of the Devils. It almost gave the Devils an excuse to have a second start to their season. Is a mini series the closest you're going to get to a playoff series in the Elite League, probably. Not that there's ever a right or wrong time in essence, but did it just give a lick of paint to the Devils' woes that maybe you could have done without from a Giants perspective?
I think you made the point there. There's no right time, there's no wrong time. I think you have to play the best, and you have to, if you want to win the title, you have to win the right amount of games, and it doesn't matter when you play them. The fixture list is decided at the start of the season. You have to basically work your way. Okay, Wednesday night's game is due to the rearranged cup semi-final. That's fine, but it actually does make it a little bit interesting for both teams that we can have this little series. But it doesn't matter when you play, and this doubleheader could have been at the start of the season. It doesn't make the points any less important. the Giants, over the years that we have won the title, we've always ended up with a double header at home against the Steelers, against the Panthers. Even when the Panthers won their league title in 2012, they had a double header in Belfast. So we're used to having a late season double header, no matter where, against a contending team. It would have been nice to have it at home, but it doesn't matter. We haven't played here enough games. We have to play here. It's nice to play it in a brand new facility and not to have to go over the road. But I think because of that, I think the Giants need to make the use of that. But then the Devils have shown in the games that they've won away from home that a big ice pad doesn't matter. They can play the game.
Yeah, absolutely. And we're talking that we're very glad that we can draw a line under the big ice, small ice debate. Now it's just ice, and teams have to play.
Well, I think like there was a hell of a lot of talk at the start of the season, wasn't there, about when is this move going to happen and can the Devils compete if they were to move from the small ice to the big ice? And I had a chat with my good friend David McJimsey on the podcast about it, and I said, well, listen, if they can compete in the NIC, if they compete in the Odyssey Arena, SSE Arena, sorry, if they compete in the SSE Arena, and if they can compete at Sheffield, then they can compete at Ice Arena Wales. It doesn't matter, and they've shown they can, and they've proven that they can tonight.
So we all stuck our necks out on the line this week on our Live on Ice show and said who we thought was going to win this Elite League title. So I'm not going to let you out of here without without nailing some colours to the mast. Is 1 from 5, maybe 1 from 4, if the result stays the same tonight. So 1 from those 5, who for you is going to be the Elite League champions in a couple of weeks' time?
I can't deny that it hasn't basically taken up every waking moment in discussions with various people, be it Davey and Aaron or my good friend, the big deal Mark Hitchcock, or because it is so exciting. We haven't had a run into the season like this in many, many years. There are 4 or 5 teams that could be a big part of this. For me, the Giants, if they want to have any sort of hope, they have to win all 5 games. That's tonight, the 2 more against the Devils, the 2 against the Flyers. Any more dropped points, and I think that's us done and dusted. And then I think the Sheffield Steelers are the ones that we have to beat and we have to look at. And we're looking at this. We're looking at the result, or the score line in the NIC at the moment, and we're seeing that the Steelers are 3-1 up, or 3-1 up last I saw. And you're hoping that the Panthers maybe get up a game. When you're starting to hope that the likes of the Steelers are going to lose, they're the ones that they're the ones that are in contention. They're the ones who have it on the back, and they're the ones that probably, I hope not, but I feel that they're the ones that might pick up back-to-back league championships.
Well, Paddy, thank you very much for joining us.
Absolute pleasure.
Before you go, we haven't actually had a chance to sample the beer here yet. Have you managed to do that? Is there a review of that as well?
I had a light shandy. I'm driving tonight. I had a light shandy on the way in, but the queue was horrendous. Hopefully that'll do. There's like 1 bar out there. I didn't know there were little satellite bars out here, so I queued at the big bar. But no, it's a great setup, mate. Even from when you come in, the brand new rink, the brand new bar, and everything for it. It's a real great credit to the people who worked so hard to put this arena together. When the Welsh National Ice Rink was torn down, and I passed by John Lewis. Earlier today.
Passed by way, sorry, I swearing a bit.
I know, and I was talking to my good friend Gary Jackson and saying, do you remember when this used to be the place, and we would come out of the bar here and walk into there, and when that went, and having to fight your way back to get in a rink again, to get the big blue tent, and the time that was spent there, and more time than you had hoped to, but a real credit to everybody who worked so hard to put this arena together, and it's a great credit to the Cardiff Devils, and I'd love to wish you success in here. Not when we're here. Not when we're here. I hope you beat everybody else.
Thank you very much, Paddy. We're glad that you guys could share this experience with us as well. Belfast and the Devils share a lot of similar DNA in many different ways over the years. So
not least the number 44 who's on the microphone, Steve Thornton, stood over there.
Exactly. Exactly. So thank you very much for sharing this with us, and I hope there's many more title run-ins over the years here and in the SSC. Thank you for joining us on IceTime.TV as well. Stick with us. We'll have a short break, and we'll be back for 3rd period action. You cannot take your eyes off of what's going on here in Ice Arena Wales. The spectacle, the game on the ice, everything. So stay right where you are. We'll be back soon. And welcome back to this vital 3rd period here at Ice Arena Wales between the Cardiff Devils and the Belfast Giants. We finally got some goals in the building in that 2nd period. Joey Martin with 2 markers for the Devils. and a late period goal from James Desmarais, who's been absolutely outstanding for the Giants and deservedly got his goal, as we have some more puck issues and ice issues. But guys, all in all, been a pretty successful start for the operational side of the rink.
It's a great ring to watch hockey in for my money. We've got the best view in the house up here, but every view is pretty good. And what's been great is that the atmosphere seemingly has transferred over from the big blue tent. It's been a packed environment tonight, more people in the building, and certainly the atmosphere is good. But Al and myself just discussing off camera, this is a big period in the season of the Cardiff Devils. Alid and myself have discussed a couple of times lately, are the Devils struggling to win the big one at the moment? You know, that big game which will turn their season either back around or get the momentum going. Obviously the defeat in the Challenge Cup final last weekend. They've got a 2-1 lead right now, but after conceding that goal to the Giants, to Desmarais, I felt the Devils were very much back on their heels. This 20 minutes could really define where the Devils go for the rest of the season.
And with the number of games left, 5 including this one, it's a little bit like World Cup play as well, and just like playoffs. But if you look at that sort of World Cup scenario, whether it's cricket or football, if you're in form, you've got a good chance of winning it. If you're not in form, you can get out of the tournament within the group stages. And for the Devils, right in there with a chance to win the league, so too the Giants. But you do feel if the Devils can find a way to grind this win out in the third period here, they've got a good chance of going on a run then towards the end of the season. Whichever side goes on a run here and finds that confidence, that'll be the side that wins the title.
Of course, you take this period in bite-sized chunks, I think, for the Cardiff Devils, and the first bite-sized chunk is this 2-minute penalty to Andrew Hotham, which leads the Belfast Giants to start on fresh ice when the ice is finally fit to play on a 2-minute power play. So for the Devils, taking this crucial 20 minutes in bite-sized chunks, they need to kill off this Andrew Hotham penalty. For the Giants, they should take the momentum from finishing that second period very strong, for getting on the board. Of course, there was that issue at the middle of the second period with the Craig Peacock game misconduct. The Giants looked rattled at that point, but they did find their composure again, and they looked a very dangerous outfit at the end of the second period.
So we're still throwing pucks up and down this ice.
Got a score update from Braehead there, trouncing the Manchester Storm 6-1 at the end of the second period there in that one. The last time we checked, at least, the signal here is not ideal, although Gareth has got a miraculous phone that seems to have a signal, and the Steelers were winning in that one, so that just makes this one even more important. Although, as John was saying, perhaps if the Panthers lose tonight, that might just push them out of the title race, of course, having lost in Coventry midweek as well.
And And the Steelers are currently 3-2 to the good in the NIC, so delicately poised in the 2 big games tonight here and in the NIC.
And just in terms of that Manchester Braehead game, and with the Belfast connection, Neil Russell doing such a good job in Manchester, and such a fantastic and character-driven playoff push, but maybe with a couple of big wins for the Blaze lately, and Devon Didiamiti having to leave the lineup, and that seemingly big loss tonight, maybe just a push too far for the Manchester Storm. But what a great first season back for that organisation, and all the hard work that's been done behind the scenes.
Yes, absolutely, and he's been on the show many times this year as Neil Russell, and I'm sure with a full summer to get things set up there, we'll see a lot more good things coming out of the Storm shelter. But here come the Giants here, and it's Vandermeer. He lays that off. Forney. Cut it inside, shot comes in on bounce. Bounce doesn't get to him. I don't think it's Richardson with a save, and this another attempt from Walser just to lay that in. Again, it's another block, and this will be another penalty on the Cardiff Devils. It's going to be an interference call. I think it's going to be Fournier or Russell to get this.
I'd like to see a replay on that one, because I just caught it out of the corner of my eye, and a replay would be great. But initially, to me, it just felt as though, goodness me, there was a battle going on out in front of the net there, and I don't like to see those called, whether it's 5-on-5 or killing the penalties. We're going to get a look at it now, and I'll probably be made to look foolish here as we just get a look at that. There's a big battle out front, and it's going to be caught off camera, isn't it? But as we follow the play, so given that it was off camera, there's a case for interference, but then again, it's out in front of the net, killing a penalty. So huge opportunity for the Giants here. Less than a minute gone in the third, and they get the 5-on-3 situation.
Big face-off win though for Joey Martin, killing some time off the clock, and I like this three-man unit to start off. Joey Martin, great two-way centre. Richardson and Hendricks. Hendricks been so responsible in recent weeks. He'll look to clear the front of the net.
And I've just looked at the clock there, guys, and it was stuck for a good few seconds there. The Giants are going to get probably around 7 seconds extra of power play time here. How vital could that prove to be? They set up. Vandermeer with a shot, saved by Bounce out in front. Bounce tracks it and gets his paw on it, and that's a big save for the Cardiff Devils netminder. And I think maybe the linesman has noticed that clock is done, and that's going to go all the way back.
Yeah, we are going to get a check on that now. But you talk about penalty killing, not being a three-man effort, but of course thinking like a four-man unit with Ben Bounds in goal, and just the players in front of him there allowing him to make that first up save and then collapsing well in front of him. But I'm with you, John. I like the balance of this unit. Perhaps Mark Richardson, one of the most intelligent hockey players in the Elite League, certainly defensively as well. Hendricks there with a little bit of muscle to just help clear things in front of Bounds, and then Martin, perhaps the best two-way centerman in the league. You've got to like the balance, but Giants still with 37 seconds or maybe less left will have a big opportunity.
And likewise, I like the unit for the Giants. Chris Beach is one of the best face-off guys in the league. So many NHL games, mainly for the Pittsburgh Penguins, one of the stronger parts of his game. And of course, Derek Waltzer, the player coach, going to have so much ice, so much space to operate in now. Again, this first face-off here could be crucial. The Devils need to win it to try and kill some further time off the clock. But if the Giants get set up, their power play tonight, as I described in the first period, looks like that overload power play. They keep three forwards one side of the net and look to work a little triangle and then bring their point men in. And it's very effective. You crowd the net, and of course with the numerical advantage 5-on-3, the Devils are really going to suffer in that department.
37 seconds remain of 5-on-3. And the Devils get that one out of the zone. Walser can't find a teammate and chips out.
And you look to your big players and your leaders, and Joey Martin, 2 goals tonight, but what a shift so far. 2 face-off wins, and then a crucial play on the back check there so far defensively for the Devils as well.
Chris Callaghan operating on the back end. Of course, the Devils with Fournier and Hotham, 2 defensemen who would play penalty kill time, sitting in the box at the moment. Chris Callaghan showing his versatility again, taking a defenseman role as Andrew Hotham steps out to the ice.
And that ice is causing a lot of problems in the Belfast end, where it hasn't been skated on in their defensive zone early in this period. Some of that surface water still remains, but they'll be happy enough that they are in the Devils' defensive zone. Vandermeer with a shot, Bounds with a save, loose out of front, Bounds with another save, and that's a huge second pad save from Ben Bounds. Another shot comes in, this is rasped wide. It is 5-on-4 now for 20 more seconds. Demarais, Vandermeer, good pass down low from Vandermeer, and he's looking up for a one-timer, and that's whistled wide. Shot coming by Vandermeer. It's a great diving block by Chris Callaghan, and now Martin can get it out. No, he can't, but it does eventually have to come out, and that's a vital kill potentially for the Cardiff Devils, and Fournier hits Callaghan, and that's an unfortunate collision, and Callaghan is hurt. And you really don't like to see it happen that way, or anyway, but particularly was unfortunate.
Well, we probably won't get a replay of that because we don't like to show the injuries too much. But for me, it was Callaghan or Fournier should have taken responsibility and took the skating stride, but both of them seem to leave the puck to each other. Callaghan maybe given the extra tip for Fournier to move into that skating lane, but Fournier was sort of arching back towards the bench and really caught Callaghan, of course, unguarded. He wasn't braced, so that hit's going to cause some difficulties. Looks like a facial injury right now, and not what the Cardiff Devils need. But on the plus side for the Devils, a huge kill at the start of this third period. In terms of momentum, that's a big build for the Cardiff Devils.
Huge kill for the Devils, and just over 3 minutes gone as we hope for good news on Chris Callaghan there, taking that hit from Gleason Fournier. But it was a huge kill, and it was Callaghan who made a terrific shot block as well, as he gets applauded off the ice from both sets of fans. Big Giants contingent here in Ice Arena Wales tonight. Great to see them over here as Culligan will go off with what looks like a facial injury, but what a block it was, and that's been such a fundamental part of the Devils game as well defensively, is that shot blocking. We hear about it from so many coaches around the league, how good they are at that, and they were on fire there.
They were indeed, but there is blood on the ice right now, and Chris Culligan, you imagine, maybe lost some teeth, maybe needs to be stitched up. He's certainly going to be out the game at the very least for 3 or 4 shifts, and it's going to be crucial for the Devils now. Who double shifts into that centre role? You would imagine that Luke Piggott or Chris Jones maybe won't get promoted at this stage of the game. Havato maybe going back into the centre role. Maybe Piggott and Jones there could take on one of the wing roles, try and tie their man up defensively, just play a simple game, chip the puck out of the zone, chip the puck in. But this means a little bit of rejigging on that Devils bench.
I think what we also don't want to see is Chris Culligan's season to end on a bad note again. Of course, last year he had that bad knee injury, which meant that his summer was prolonged. So we hope that it is just cosmetic, and he can be back pretty sharpish.
And if you're the Devils, you're just perhaps hoping that the ice maintenance takes its time here, just to a couple more minutes, that sort of home ice advantage, and not to suggest any skullduggery or anything, of course, but you know, perhaps this will just take a little while to clean this blood off, and Chris Culligan might just miss 1 shift less than he might have done otherwise. We hope to see him back in this game. Quite often we do see players come back, but of course perhaps there'll be 1 or 2 concussion protocol checks just come into play as well.
Yeah, to totally go 180 on that as we have a little break. We've had a lot of shout outs tonight by the IceTime account. Tonight I've had quite an unusual shout out request on Twitter from the Bad Boys for Life who are watching tonight, so good luck to them.
Is that not us? Are we not the Bad Boys for Life?
No, we're the rival gang.
Where are we going with this?
But that was it was a genuine shout out. I was just relaying. Here's Fournier. Fournier with a long stretcher, that's going to be icing. And it looks to be the Devils with the slight miscue on the pass there.
Well, the first blood on the ice in Ice Arena Wales, but it's interesting. Of course, this building is going to take time to settle down, and you mentioned, Gaz, perhaps the climate in here. The ice for me is playing well as the period goes on, but at the start of the period there is still some issue with surface water on the ice. You said with the Belfast defensive zone, with not a lot of puck presence in there in the first stages of this third period, that zone had a lot of standing water on it, so a few teething problems still in this building.
As we have an offside call, and the Devils will be looking to make a mess of that ice in the Devils defensive zone. They'll be unhappy with the amount of time that they've yet to spend on it. As we look at that to our left, 16:30 remains in the third.
It is Havato who will go into the centre, John, alongside Haddad still there on that line, and Chris Jones will then take a regular shift on the wing on this line.
Haddad can't get that in deep. Radjic comes up and tidies up for the Giants. Mason. Demaray, but only as far as Jones, who will look to grow his Elite League career in this building. And he has bags of potential, which has been managed very well, I think many would agree, by Jamie Elson, Andrew Lord and Neil Francis. And he certainly is going to be given a regular shift year on in for the rest of the game, as he's pinned up against the boards by Mason. And Haddad looks to come in to help out. Haddad to Havato, and another stick lost. The shot goes in by Hudson, that's well blocked. Another shot goes in, it's out in front of Haddad. He can't get it onto his backhand. Tries to find Jones, and it's cut out well.
What a good third line shift from that unit there. They did everything they were asked of and more there. Haddad with a big body keeping it in. Jones did a great job. Sensible play to keep that against the boards. And in the end, they carved a great opportunity as well.
Keith. Circles around Hotham. Throws it back to the point. Goes down low in behind Bounds, and that's just rammed off the boards, and now the Giants can't keep it in the zone. Keith will have to come all the way back. 14 minutes and 50 seconds left in the third period. That surface water again almost allows Kirker to sneak in, and I'm sure there'll be a few comments made before tomorrow's game on this subject. Hotham to Kirker. Kirker back to Hotham. Hotham with a huge dump in, looking for the ice, and has been waved off on the hybrid icing. It turned into a very inventive pass, and here's Lord just looking to try and get in front. Joey Martin has a good stick check in behind. It's going to be a penalty on the play here.
Well, a slashing call with Andrew Lord perhaps prevented from getting that puck out in front, having his stick taken away, and I was critical of Andrew Hotham in the second period. That was very intelligent. He saw that Andrew Lord had posted on the blue line on the far right-hand side, and just a hard slap shot rim around the back of the net, and Andrew Lord was able to beat out the icing call. And from there, the Devils had good setup, and the Giants had to nullify that with the slashing call. It's Mark Garside who goes to the box. Big chance for the Cardiff Devils here.
Giants spoil that face-off and win it, and they will come forward. And again, that puck just gets caught on the way, and now the Devils will look to gain the zone, but it's this time just cleared out of danger by the Giants. Devils cross over the blue line with Morissette. Hotham. Haddad. Hotham. Got Russell in front of him, and Hotham just throws it at net, but it's gone high and wide of Murphy. Avata does well to Morissette. Now here's Russell. Hotham. Hotham tries to find Morissette and does. Now here's Russell. Russell back to Haddad, who shoots. Haddad to Hotham. Russell. Russell looks to get a shot on. That's well blocked by Mason, and a face-off in the Giant zone.
Good play from the Devils as they managed to get that zone time, and the passing comes together well, as Hotham had a really good shift there on the back end, but you saw there from Stephen Murphy how much more comfortable he is to know his angles on this big ice surface. He read that play beautifully and went post to post to make a good save.
Well, it was, but I think that was a great desperation play on the back door. I don't know whether it was Shields or the defenseman, but took a little bit of the steam off that shot, and perhaps slowed it down for Murphy to make a great save. But there the Devils using the bigger zone on the penalty play.
Shot comes in, Murphy saves it, it's there! It tips in at the vital second, and the Devils regain their 2-goal advantage here in Ice Arena, Wales.
Well, maybe if the power play's struggling, you just go back to simple hockey. Face-off win, puck to the net, a little bit of traffic, and it's Guy Doucette, I think, there at the back post, who's jammed the rebound in. Just simple power play hockey, guys. Great face-off win by Joey Martin. Fournier, one-timer release on the by Richardson, I think, on the blue line, and it's Doucette in the greasy, dirty area who's tipped that in. Big goal.
We talk about how important it was for the Devils to get that goal tonight, around 100 minutes of hockey without a goal, and then Guy Doucette on an individual basis, a player who perhaps has just gone a little dry recently, leads the league in goal scoring, gets another one tonight. That's just what the Devils need, is Guy Doucette back on the score sheet. He gets his 34th of the season.
Sorry, Alan, Martin there with another chance, and Kirker was looking to spin and get a shot on as well. Now here's Lord. Giants will just look to get it out, but Kirker cuts it out. Now the Devils are looking to ride the momentum. Here's Lord. Lord's got Martin there, and that's a great stick by Stephen Murphy just to make sure that Joey Martin had no chance to make a play on that rebound.
Well, we talked this summer about Guy Doucette being brought in to score big goals. He has this year. He leads the Devils in game-winning goals, in overtime goals. He has been quiet for a while, but in a game, a knife-edge game, which you feel the Devils have to win, and this game isn't over by any stretch of the imagination, but it gives the Devils a little bit of comfort. Guy Doucette, just a greasy goal, a little bit of a garbage goal, but a big goal, and that's what Guy Doucette is, a scorer of big goals.
12:29 remains in this third period. 3-1 to the Cardiff Devils as Guy Doucette puts a power play marker on, and there's the Devils now. Russell back to Morissette. Morissette just throws out of Murphy, and that's a good blocker that took the attention away from Luke Piggott. And now he is Beach for the Giants. Cut out by Russell, who has had a very understated but effective game for the Cardiff Devils tonight.
Guys, the goal in the building has been given to Thomas Kirker. I know I've been talking rubbish for the last 2.5 years. Have I made a mistake there?
Not for me. Here come the Devils. Piggott just can't win that foot race.
Unless they've swapped jerseys, John. I think that's highly unlikely. The difference here, though, you're seeing the Devils starting to get that confidence back, and one of the key elements to any hockey club being successful and playing a good flowing game that generates offensive chances, as we see an offside on the play, is that ability to make clinical passes. And the passing in this period, and certainly in the last few moments as well, and buoyed by the goals, certainly after the goals, has been that ability to pass and find the tape. One of the key elements for the Devils that has been lacking. They've been passing into skates. There've been players not quite positionally where other players were expecting them to be. And just as we saw from Wales, certainly in the first half of the rugby today, passing behind the man all the time, losing that momentum. So important in hockey as well, to get that pass there so the skating stride isn't broken. The Devils are finding that touch.
Yes, Keefe driving his way to the front of the net. And he does well to get that chance on bounds. And here's Keefe again. And you know, we talk about people stepping up in title races. This is a man who steps up, not just in title races, in game-to-game situations. That's in behind the net. Haddad wins that puck, but he's muscled out of it by Boxhill. But excellent work by Joey Haddad once again. And now Hudson's getting caught out. Batch goes in to help him out. Haddad. And he does have support. Jones, who gets a little hip check from Vandermeer. And, well, you think of if Chris Jones ever had himself an Xbox or a PlayStation, he probably controlled Vandermeer at times. It's probably a bit of a surreal moment. You get a hip check and a chops from him here tonight. Kirker. Hotham tries to find Lord and can't, but Kirker with the jets on, and Kirker seems to have enjoyed getting his skating legs going. On this side, a shot comes in. Murphy with a blocker save. Vandermeer up against Martin, and Vandermeer does very well to keep that puck shielded and protected. Demaray will just throw that one in behind bounds, and Giants do well to turn that over, and Russell does well, and Guy just said maybe need to move at his legs just a little bit more there. Garside, shot, and Mark hit Andrew Lord, I think in the face, but maybe he doesn't have real feelings, Andrew Lord, because he didn't seem to flinch. A Doucette goes forward, and that's that for Russell. And Russell's just turning and leaves that for Doucette. Morissette, there's a bit more bite about the Devils going forward now. Fournier gets a second attempt. Can't find Doucette, and the Giants will get out. 9:25 left in the third period. Chance for Fournier, who shoots and scores! And what a forehand backhand move that was. 3-2, game on.
But again, the gap control there, the Devils are playing a 3-on-2, but the gap control there for Fournier to get in the middle of, I think, Hendricks and Fournier. You've got to question that. It's a great backhand pass coming in from the wing, and Fournier's so quick onto it. But let's just see the Devils' positioning here. In fact, sorry, it's Morissette who's in the defensive position because Fournier was caught up the ice. And I don't think Morissette, who's a great defensively responsible forward, but I don't think his gap control is good enough there. He's too far away from Hendricks, and that allows Fournier the room to get in there and score a beautiful goal for the Belfast Giants.
Haddad in a battle with Mason and Boxhill. The energy line for the Belfast Giants has been sent out. They feel they can get something from this game. Haddad, he'll chip this forward for Jones to chase. Shields. And it's times like this when guys like Shields and Keefe and Lloyd, guys, Murphy, guys who've been here, done it, played in these games, how vital that experience is as the Devils chip it forward. Haddad. Richardson throws that straight on net and doesn't quite get to Murphy. Kirker. Lord. Lord doesn't get it. The hit finished. Kirker battling in the corner against Demarais. Lord throws that on Murphy, and that's a great save by Stephen Murphy. 8:07 left in the third.
But what's good for the Devils is the response after that goal going in. And you could perhaps forgive them with those perhaps fragile confidence that they've been playing with, that they might just go into their shell a little bit. Not a bit of it. They've found a way to play well, especially in this third period where those passes have come together. There's been a commitment to the details, the defensive and offensive plays, and they're playing in the same way, and that's good to see.
Giants win the face-off. Get it out of the zone. Hotham under pressure, and the Devils do get possession back. Now here's Martin. Martin's got Kirker up for support. He finds him. Hotham doesn't collect it again, and Forney cuts it out, and Hotham does well on the backhand. Here's Lord, and he just tries a little slick move at the blue line and doesn't come off, and the Devils will go for a line change.
Plenty of time here for the Belfast Giants, and when you've got players like Michael Forney on the ice, it was almost a little bit of a sort of Devils-esque goal that from this season. The Giants had stopped creating a lot of offensive zone chances in this third, but Forney just steps up, gets that little bit of separation from Morissette, and that was all he needed to put that puck away.
Hendricks with a good lead pass forward.
And the context of this game becomes even more important because we've just had word that Sheffield Steelers have closed out a very big game tonight, taking a 4-2 victory against the Nottingham Panthers. So this game is a must-win for both teams right now.
Rutherford. Great pass in, and that's gone wide of Bounds net, but here's Keith. Keith just tries to throw that one in on Bounds, and there's a Devil without a skate, and that's going to go all the way down. That will be icing.
I just look along our new little gantry up here, and the Devils players who aren't in the lineup are actually out with us tonight, and you wonder what Lee Salters is thinking right now. Chris Culligan's injury is a little serious and maybe keeps him out of the lineup for tomorrow. You would imagine it's Lee Salters who comes back in, and a big game player. We've seen him do it so often for Nottingham and the Braehead clan. Maybe a little bit of a stop-start season for the Cardiff Devils, but what a game for him to come back into tomorrow.
Yeah, you would think that he is the one to come in. Tyson Marsh has been taking warm-up, but nowhere near ready to return, and Brent Walton out for the season. As Vandermeer throws that puck across and gets it on the return. That's a long stretch pass to Rutherford. Bounds around to Batch, a Batch to Avato, and now the Devils can get their skating legs going. Jones will just chip that forward for Avato, and now Haddad will come in to help out. And the Giants between them bashing their way out. There's 6 minutes left in the third period. It's tantalizingly poised here. A puck thrown right across the crease, looking for Demarais, and now Demarais has another chance, and he's looking for a deflection that he almost got. Shot comes in from the point, and Batch bats that away. Walser it was. Devils can't get out of their zone at the moment. Walser with good pressure on the forecheck. Haddad. Now the Giants come away with it. The chance across the crease, and no, Giants player get their stick on it. But what a chance it was. They continue. Can the Devils get it out? This line has been on for a long time. There's a bit of a slide tackle almost going in there at the blue line. Forney patiently just lays it down, and now Beach. Kirker goes into battle on the boards, and Kirker doesn't know where it is. Beach has found it. Forney gets it to point. Shot comes in, Bounce saves, it's loose out in front, and it was Jess waiting there for a white jersey to tuck it away. There's so much going on in front of Ben Bounds, and now it'll be a penalty, a slashing call on the Giants, an offensive zone penalty. Coach Walter will not be happy with that.
He won't be. That's a strange one. We're going to see a replay of that again, a net battle. The play actually went on for a little bit with the Giants in possession with referee Hogarth's arm in the air, so I assumed it was a penalty against the Cardiff Devils, and with 4 minutes 38 seconds remaining, the Giants have a great chance to tie this up. As it is, the Devils have a chance to kill time off the clock and perhaps put this game behind reach. Guys, what did you see?
Nothing on that. No, nothing on that.
About as much as the footage.
But no, I was tracking the puck, unfortunately, so I missed the infringement, but it has been called. And we will have 2 minutes of power play time for the Cardiff Devils.
Timely break for the Devils as well, because that was all Giants for the last minute and a half to 2 minutes there. And you just felt as though the Giants were going to find a way there to maybe get that goal as the Devils got a little bit more tentative. The Devils had that power play goal as well tonight, and what a time, what a good break for the Devils.
Shot comes in, and Murphy once again, I do reference it a few times, he's very, very comfortable, isn't he?
Absolutely, just the way he moves laterally there, and he's just so square to the shooter. He just looks to have so much time, and to be honest with you, I'm not sure that's a way the Devils are going to find success against him. They've had one or two garbage goals, a good finish from Joey Martin as well.
Haddad with a shot, and that's a good blocker save from Murphy. The Giants look to get it out. Boxill, he's digging for that puck like a mole on the side. It's only as far as Avato. Avato finds Hotham. Hotham finds Russell. Haddad fans on it. Hotham can't get the second bite at it. He does keep possession for the Devils. Morissette, Russell. Morissette. Backdoor is there! The Devils regain their 2-goal advantage, and it's another power play goal.
And just some beautiful tic-tac-toe hockey. To speak to your point, Aled, the Devils may be moving that puck around a little bit more and moving Stephen Murphy out of his comfort zone. And Andrew Hotham, the man that I chastised a little bit in the second period, gets on the end of a great backdoor play involving Ryan Russell and Jake Morissette.
As you said, John, it was the puck movement there, and Hotham has been really good on this unit, playing there, the way he passes the puck, the heads that play. Russell has been good on the half boards too. And again, we talk about how important that quick passing is. It allows Hotham to get the one-timer away. And I said earlier, perhaps Hotham needed a fight to get himself going. Well, he's got a goal, that might just do it as well.
3:50 remains in this third period, and it's the Devils 4, Belfast Giants 2, and Rutherford is going to look to bring this game back to a 1-goal as quickly as he can, and the Giants are all over it as Martin tries to get it out to Kirker and can't. The Giants will come over the blue line again. Rutherford bouncing and backhand, forehand, and now Andrew Lord has to battle in the corner. Fournier, Martin, he'll just chip that one out for Fournier to chase, and Fournier, if he could have got it, and Kirker in up on the left wing, and it would have been a 2-on-1 chance for the Devils. Demarais back to Rutherford, and that's a great tip by Rutherford. And can the Devils now get an attack going? Will they find some space as the Giants chase this game? Morissette rims that one around for Russell, and that's a lovely backhand play to get himself out of trouble there by Mason. Beach muscled out of it by Batch. He's got Doucette forward. Batch has actually gone to join Doucette, and Doucette has just run out of room on the boards. Good cut out by Batch, but it's only fed into Fournier. He's got another chance. Back and forth. What a save by Bounds!
The light hasn't gone on either on the rebound chance. Well, guys, if I've said this a number of times, Ben Bounds has just pulled off the save of the season, I think.
We need to see that one again if we can. That was a huge, huge glove save while on his back.
But more crucially, is Ben Bounds hurt a little? Ben Bounds is crucial to the Cardiff Devils' success. He's still on the ice a little bit at the moment. Has maybe he jarred that hand? I'm not sure. What I would say first and foremost, Guy Doucette, who has scored a big goal, I thought that was criminal on the Devils' initial break. You've got to get the puck in deep there on a line change. He didn't. He coughed it up near the boards. And as a result, the Giants were able to lead the rush, and a great goal-scoring chance. This is a crucial moment in the season of the Cardiff Devils. Ben Bounds, the stellar British netminder, has not got off the ice since making that save.
So much has come together tonight for the Devils. The power play has got going. Joey Martin has caught fire again. Guy Doucette with a goal. Ben Bounds, who's really been the team's MVP throughout this season, has won games, has kept the team in games. Had an unbelievable performance in the Challenge Cup final in the end in a losing effort, and for all the good this win might do for the Devils, this just might be the most crucial moment in their season.
And it looks like a leg injury there that he's that they're attending to.
Well, this building, apart from the Giants fans, is pretty much hushly quiet at the moment, because I think any loss to a lineup would be important, but perhaps the Devils can cope, as we've seen with Chris Culligan dropping out of the lineup tonight, Chris Jones stepping in. But if Ben Bounds was to go down for the Cardiff Devils, Mike Will is a very good netminder. But you've got to ask the question, and Mike Will would probably say this himself, is he a league-winning netminder? Ben Bounds is crucial to the Cardiff Devils, and what happens in the next few minutes will tell us a lot about where the Devils go this season.
I'm praying his cramp.
He looks okay. I wonder whether he stays in the net now. There's 2:36 left in this one, with a game tomorrow night and a busy end of the season with midweek and then next weekend. Looks like he's going to stay there. And, well, that's only a call perhaps Ben Bounds can make.
And I guess if you're the Giants, it's just pucks to the net as quickly as possible. A shaken netminder, perhaps a netminder playing hurt. You win this face-off, and with the extra body now, as the Giants have called that netminder a brave call with 2 minutes 36 seconds remaining, they will look to crash the net and get pucks to the net as quickly as they can.
And we just need to wax lyrical about that save once again, because that was an unbelievable. Richardson rims that one around the boards, and will that go all the way for icing? No, it won't. It's going to get caught on that ice. As I think the Devils maybe didn't realise that net was empty, and I think as they've come down the ice, a few of them have realised. But, well, Coach Walser as Bounds will just settle that down. Coach Walser throwing that dice, playing his hand. He's gone for that gamble.
He has, and I've seen that breakout from Belfast a number of times, putting the shot right on net. Two wingers crashing in from the wide areas and forcing the face-off. Surprised that no timeout has been called here by either side. The Devils getting the line matchup they want, perhaps. Coach Walser having more time to work with the whiteboard, but still 2 minutes 14 seconds left. Plenty of time for that, but again, another crucial face-off.
Devils win the draw. Fournier tries to find Kirker and can't. Vandermeer just lets that one run. Now here's Kirker, who maybe panicked a little bit, maybe needed a bit more composure as we're into the final 2 minutes of the third period. And that's a poor pass. Martin, Lord fans on it, and now the Giants will come forward. Lay it off for Fournier, and that's a good stick by Thomas Kirker, who's had an excellent game tonight and has really lived up to the billing he had in pre-season.
An excellent game, but perhaps slightly needless icing there after winning the puck battle. Perhaps just float it down the boards a little bit. Now the Devils get caught out with a line that's on a bit of a long shift right now, and will we see the timeout be called for the Devils here? Just the rest their guys, maybe not.
Perhaps that fan play there from Lord just indicative of his confidence in front of goal at the moment with the net empty there. But he's certainly been good in all other departments. A wonderful assist for Joey Martin as well tonight for Andrew Lord, and boy, he can't have asked for much more from his club to bounce back from those 5 losses.
Here's Lloyd. Walser at the point. Vandermeer, and that's blocked by Andrew Lord. Who else? And now here's Martin. He's got Kirker. Is Kirker going to put the icing on the cake? He is! Ice Arena Wales works to be capped with a Devils win, 5-2.
But take a bow, the player coach, leading by example. Maybe he struggled a little bit from form in the most recent weeks, but it was him again putting his body on the line, the shot block at the blue line, and then composure from Joey Martin and Thomas Kirker there on in. Great lead pass by Martin. Thomas Kirker, the easiest job in Cardiff. Big win for the Cardiff Devils.
Kirker is 22nd in the season, and for a player who's perhaps been one of the Devils' best as well, important to get him on the score sheet. You look at the scorers tonight: Joey Martin a couple, Guillaume Doucette, Andrew Hotham, Thomas Kirker. These are the guys the Devils need scoring there. They're big players that have found a way to get to the net tonight. It's the Devils who are going to win this one 5-2. But as you say, John, what a play from Andrew Lord. If you can't follow that man, if you're in his team, who can you follow?
And I'll just throw it out there, guys, that the Giants lay a marker down for tomorrow and Wednesday. I mean, this is essentially, there's still 6 periods of hockey to go for these two teams. The shot comes in on Bounds, and Bounds saves. Russell battling Vandermeer. That's an NHL battle. Both guys with time in the show as Boxhill lays it back to the point. We're into the final 35 seconds.
There's been a number of chops on Ben Bounds, and I'm not criticising that. Anything to give you an edge in the game. The Devils defensemen there were getting very edgy and trying to clear out because the Giants were going to the net and trying to make contact with Bounds.
Too set with a Raspin shot that Murphy deals with. As Ice Arena Wales is coming alive now for the first time. This is the identity. This is the start that every Devils fan and every Devils employee wanted. A bad save by Bounds. The clock ticks down to 0. The title challenge remains alive for the Cardiff Devils. No, the 2 seconds. Well, there's the 2 seconds. They go back from earlier.
But we said before the game, you asked the question, what is it going to mean about playing in this place? And I said the important thing is to get the win, and then you start to grow that attachment. That's what people remember. The Devils are going to get that win with 2 seconds left, but when you look around, this place is starting to feel like home as well.
It's kind of a nice tradition. 3 buildings in. It was a win against the Ashfield Islanders in 1986, a win against the Manchester Phoenix in 2006, and now in 2016, welcome to Ice Arena Wales, a 5-2 win for the Cardiff Devils.
And the Devils title challenge remains alive. The Belfast Giants title challenge takes a dent. Maybe it's too much for them to do. They certainly won't be thinking like that coming into this building again tomorrow. But it's just a chance to just look around at these pictures of a full Ice Arena Wales. You mentioned it, Alan, the most people that have ever watched a Devils game live. That's something special, isn't it?
Absolutely, and importantly for the Devils Hockey Club, the most people that have ever watched the Devils win live as well. And with this series coming up, just one game in, and such a massive week of hockey coming up, the Steelers beating the Panthers tonight, that more or less puts them out of it, I think. Are the Giants out of things now? Do they feel that they've still got a chance and they go again tomorrow? For the Devils, an opportunity to play the Belfast Giants, a club that they've had success against this season, that had so much success against them for so many years. But the Devils are right there amongst the big boys in this league now. They've got the building to it, and they've got the team as well.
And the character of that third period, I felt there were nerves at the end of the second period, and we spoke off camera, we spoke on camera at the start of the third period. It was going to be perhaps a defining period for the Devils in terms of whether they could close out a big game, because they haven't lately. They've struggled in the big game. Well, Andrew Lord and his men did close out a big game. Ben Bounds was fantastic, but a true team effort, and the Belfast Giants will come again. They're a quality outfit, but for now, the Devils can celebrate a momentous victory.
The man of the match quickly, gentlemen, for you, for both teams?
2 net minus for me.
Totally agree with that, John.
And for the Devils, it's 1 down, 4 to go. Have I mentioned the league title tonight?
Or this season?
Michael Forney it is.
Michael Forney takes the spoils, takes the beers home for the Giants, and well, this is usually the time where I say goodbye and good luck to our visitors, and I will definitely say goodbye to them, and we will welcome them back here tomorrow, as we are going to stick around to see the first bouncy wave of the new arena, as we see our 50-50 winner and the extravagant big check. Nice to see that's made its way over from the big blue tent. It will be great to see the Giants in this building again as they leave the ice. Their fans have been absolutely fantastic, as they always are. What a show that was put on tonight for this occasion, and you know, the Devils certainly didn't have this game easy. This was a win earned, not a win given. And both these teams are going to be sleeping tonight and wondering what tomorrow will bring. There's the first shirt off his back. Winner is coming up as well. Joey Haddad shirt. Now that is going to be a collector's item in years to come.
Guys, we're here with you. How exciting is this?
Welcome back, gentlemen.
We're back down in the studio. Are we allowed to call it a studio?
Yes, the studio.
Gaz has spoken.
The crib. Yeah.
This is very exciting. It's quite sad that this is perhaps the most exciting part of my day, that we can all be involved in this even though we're not in the same place.
The wonders of modern technology. And Joey Martin will take the spoils for the man of the match. 2 goals on the night for Joey. And that man just keeps leading this Cardiff Devils team.
But it was an interesting quote, I thought, from Chuck Webber when I interviewed him at the end of the Big Blue Tent, the final game there. He said he told his team it was a night to make history, a night to perhaps be the last ever winners, the last ever goal scorer. Well, maybe Andrew Law just used that as a little bit of inspiration tonight. We have seen some history made here. Guy Doucette, I think, with the first ever game-winning goal in this building, perhaps. Joey Martin, the first ever goal. The Cardiff Devils with their first ever win. So a little bit of a history made everywhere tonight.
And look how many people are standing by to watch this applause. Well, that perhaps tells you something about how important it is, the move to this building, but also that important that win was as well. And we've seen the most people watch the Cardiff Devils. We've seen the most people see the Devils win. We might see the most partake in a bouncy wave as well, Gareth.
Oh, I love a bouncy wave. And now he's got an extra corner to work with. He only had 3 sides to work with in the Big Blue Tent, so he's got to earn his money tonight with that 4th.
Oh, we're going to be on the air for another half an hour because he likes to milk it, does Bouncy. Tongue in cheek, I should say, well deserved.
Is he fit enough? That's the question that all Devils fans will be asking. Looks like he will find the energy to.
I think he probably has to be wheeled onto the ice to do this. He only needs his arms.
Those are pretty precious arms, guys. He's going to need those again tomorrow.
I'd insure them now if I were Todd Kelman. Well, I think we'll let Ben Bounds do the talking here for a few moments. And just take in this wave and take in this atmosphere in what is a very, very special night in Devils history.